up with a nice cup of morning roast.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring Baldy and Joe Shasky.
Well, I'm about that action, boss.
Take him out! This is the morning roast on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, baby. What up, roasters? Good morning on this lovely Tuesday morning. Good morning to Shasky. Good morning to Joe Spadoni on the pregame show. Good morning to Sam Lubman. He's still feeling the effects of that Hurricanes loss to Middle Tennessee State. Hurricanes 24.5-point favorites. They blow that game. What did they get beat by 3 touchdowns? They ain't no Florida State. We know that. Good morning, everybody on YouTube, Twitch, Comcast Business Text Line. Everybody getting off their graveyard shifts, getting ready for work. If you're at work, what is happening? Drive safely on those roadways. You know the drill. Niners, they lose to the Broncos. We know 11-10. And, you know, Shasky, yesterday we were very emotional. We were very angry. I was angry about the situation, the game planning, the decision-making of the quarterback, the decision-making of the QB, of the head coach. But today I do want to get in a conversation about Kyle Shanahan and about his decision-making and about his long-term prospects with the 49ers. And I'm not saying the Niners should be looking at other coaches or whether or not they should fire him, but I want to take a deep dive into who Kyle Shanahan really is as a head coach today, Shasky.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. It's interesting, like, I feel when you bring up Kyle Shanahan, there's an instant panic from some people where they go flying to the opposite end of the room, right, and they go, oh, who are you going to get that's better than him? It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
When I say
wait a minute. Yeah. Wait, just take a deep breath. I just want to talk about Kyle Shanahan and if he's any good or not. No one's saying that he's not done good things. Of course he's done good things. And let me just start here, B, and I'll throw this at you. Was Dusty Baker a really good manager for the Giants?
I think so.
I do too. You know, he should have went to the playoffs in 93, went to the playoffs in 97, okay? Went to the playoffs in 2000, 2002, went all the way to the World Series. Now, they didn't end up winning it all, but the team was very, very competitive.
Right.
It was one of the most sustainable competitive stretches that they've had in a long time.
No doubt.
And at some point, now, I didn't like how the Giants handled it, San Francisco Giants, and they got rid of him. But right after they got rid of him, they brought in Felipe Alou, and I didn't even think Felipe Alou was that good. But they went wire to wire the next year, the very next year, and they ended up losing. Jose Cruz Jr. drops a ball or whatever, and then the team would go through a different transition. But I think we look back and we're like, man, Dusty was really good with the Giants, and he was really good with the Giants.
Really good.
But when you compare him to someone like Bruce Bochy, you're like, oh, man, Dusty falls really short. Right?
It's really won 3 championships.
Really hard.
You know?
So, in around for the Niners, you look at like, no one's going to be Bill Walsh.
Nobody.
All right? It's not going to happen.
But how many are going to be George Seifert?
So now that's a legitimate question.
Because a lot of guys have fallen short of George Seifert.
I think it's really unfair the way we've treated George Seifert.
Very.
89, everyone's like, that's Walsh's championship. And I think I get what people are saying.
Right.
I get the point, and the team, such a well-oiled machine. You got to give the man. You got to give the man some credit, right? You got to give him some credit. He was also the architect of that defense all throughout the 80s. So I think it's really unfair to Seifert that he doesn't get the credit for 89. Clearly, 94, he gets the credit, and he lost a bunch of times, 92, 93, 95, 96. Like, he lost in the playoffs a lot. Looking back, in retrospect, Seifert was great.
Sorry. We have technical difficulties over here. I'm looking at the soundboard here, and things are just flying off the handle. I'm sorry. Not to derail you.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Continue on, Shasky.
No, I was just getting at it. And so I look at Kyle Shanahan, and he did some really good things for this team and has done some really good things for this team. He's been to the 2 NFC Championship games, winning 1 and going to the Super Bowl. He was a quarter away from winning the Super Bowl. That doesn't mean that he was going to win the Super Bowl, but they did some great things. And I look at him today, and the number one...
Lazy boy.
Wow, things are just firing off left and right. I don't know what's going on here this morning. You okay?
I'm fine. It has everything to do with the computer here. That's why Spadoni's here.
Yeah, Spadoni's in our...
here.
I'll take people behind the...
What's this, pregame show stuff?
This is all your sound.
That's all my sound.
Oh,
there it
there you
is.
go.
Soundboard was all jacked up. Well, I got my panels off here.
Okay.
So, see, if I put the panel
there it
on,
goes.
it plays. It plays.
I got to talk to Tim Jordan.
All right, we got to talk to Tim Jordan. So,
Yeah.
but two of my panels for the soundboard that we usually play. We play sound all the
You
time.
completely distracted me throughout that.
Yeah, I know.
monologue.
You can't
Apologies.
stay focused. Yeah, I know.
Well, you were
gotta
looking
work
at
on
me
that
like
one.
I was like not on the air.
No. I was like, just
Yeah.
keep going.
Oh, I
keep
didn't know.
going.
I thought you were saying
so
we
we
were
have,
off air.
So we have two panels. Usually, so to take people behind the scenes, I have a little board here, a council board. And we have 4 panels here that they're all on. They're all on. And we have a soundboard. That's how we play our sound through that. And so when I put on panel 3 and 4, that sound plays whatever the heck it is. So we don't know what it is, but it's playing. So now I have to keep those off, and Spadoni's going to have to play the sound, and I'll just have to point ahead when we get to the sound. That's all.
All right, so getting back to the whole coach thing, right? I thought that Seifert was awesome, right?
Seifert was awesome.
But it ran its course, right? We all agreed,
Right.
like it kind of ran its course. He couldn't get through the hump of the Green Bay Packers. He could not beat them, and then they bring in Mooch,
Right.
and I didn't think Mooch was all that great.
Yeah, I
Everybody
know how
loved
you-
Mooch.
Not everybody. No. I remember this fan base because at the time, I wanted Mooch out.
Did
and
you?
Then, yes, absolutely. And then as time flew by, I was like, damn, man. We kind of forced Mooch out when they were a couple pieces away, and the dynamics of everything
Yeah.
that happened, like they were done after that. They fired Mooch to bring in Dennis Erickson.
And well, that was
And that was a disaster. Then
complete
you fired
disaster.
Dennis Erickson to bring in Mike Nolan to give him full control of the football team.
And then say, hey, you know nothing about quarterback play,
Right.
but why don't you select the quarterback?
you know what I'm saying?
Insane. It's absolutely insane.
It's insane.
And so where I'm going with this is that in real time, I feel like Kyle's a good coach. I don't know if he's a great coach. I don't know how we're going to remember him, but I have the same question today that I had when he got the job. And
Right.
here's the question.
What's the question?
Can this guy get the quarterback thing right?
Well, he hasn't in 6 years. So as of now, no.
Right?
As of now, no.
And when I look at the successful coaches around the league, for the most part, they have either figured out the quarterback thing or they have found a way to run a winning organization and propping up whatever that quarterback is. So I look at someone like Mike Tomlin the
Right.
last couple of years. We all agree, even though Ben was a legend, he was a shell of himself the last
doubt.
5 or 6
No
years.
doubt.
Right? And he's propped him up. You look, Tomlin's been, 15 years in the
Right,
game,
right.
never had a losing record. I have a lot of respect for him. I don't even think he's one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in the league.
I don't either.
You know, I look at someone like McVay. He's done it with multiple quarterbacks now. I think he's great. He's got the Super Bowl. He's been to 2 of them now. He's in the playoffs every single year. He's done it in a variety of ways. I think he's great. Andy Reid, come on. I think we all agree he's great. Now, if you'd have asked me that question 6 years ago, before he got up with Mahomes,
Right.
I think a lot of people would have different answers to that.
So here's where I'm at, Shasky. And I'm going to play a couple sound bites.
Yeah.
I'm actually have Spadoni play it because I'm scared to play it. There's a thing here with a few variables with Kyle Shanahan. One, the coaching turnover. They basically lost 14 coaches last year, and they brought in a bunch of dudes. Mm-hmm. And you think about the LaFleurs, you think about the McDaniels, you think about the Salas. Now, DeMeco Ryans has done a great job to replace Robert Saleh, but there's been a lot of turnover on that coaching staff.
That's a good point.
You know, a lot of turnover. And I wonder if that's starting to have an effect on it, because Baldy, will play the sound a little later, talked about McDaniel going out to Miami, how that will affect the 49ers. And so far, it looks like it's affected the 49ers. Then I look at the quarterback position, and I'm saying the decision with the quarterbacks have not been good. You know, Kyle, for whatever reason, we're still here with Jimmy Garoppolo, even though Kyle doesn't seem to trust Jimmy Garoppolo. And then you see the number 3 overall pick.
Yeah, it's a very
and something that
abusive
Steiny
relationship.
said is sticking with me, where did they trade up to number 3 to have a selection of the 3 quarterbacks between Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance, or did they really love Trey Lance? The way Trey Lance was used, I have my doubts on if Trey Lance was really loved, but we'll see about that in the future.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. And then I look at the decision making, and something we didn't really talk about yesterday because we were so hell bent on Garoppolo missing throws and Shanahan calling up plays and Garoppolo missing the plays and the pick 8 that people are calling it, the safety where it throws a pick 6. And I look at decision making like that. Baldy, you talk about that play. It's a bad decision to run that play at that situation. Shanahan took accountability for it, but what about something we didn't talk about, the 55-yard field goal in the first half? Points are going to be at a premium in that football game. And yet he decides, you know what? I'm not going to push him back on 3rd and 18. I'm going to decline the penalty. McManus drills a 55-yarder, which is nothing at that altitude. We see kickers kick 60-yarders all the time in Denver. 3 points. 3 points came out of premium. It was an 11-10 football game. Situational football. Things like that where you decline a penalty. We've seen that over and over with Kyle Shanahan, whether it's a 4th and 1, a 3rd and 2, the reluctance to go for it.
How about the challenges?
The challenges.
He's had some wild challenges.
Wild challenges. The reluctance to say, you know what, I'm going to go for it on 4th and 8, but against Seattle, we're at the 2-yard line. I'm not going to go for it. And then you get a field goal blocked, and it goes the other way. And Seattle has a little life.
You go for it on 4th down last year against the Rams. It ends up being the biggest part of the game. Kittle runs in for a touchdown. Later on in the season, you run the exact same play you ran the week before, and everyone in the stadium knew it was coming with Trent Williams coming across the line, and you're handing off to Juszczyk with the season on the line.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So then I look at like the way the league is right now. It's a passing league for the most part.
Well, the rules are all in place to where more good things can happen when you throw the ball than bad because of the rules, because of how hard it is to defend. And this is where you brought up that 3rd and 18, that potential 3rd and 18. The only thing in my mind that would scare me off from accepting that penalty is the 5-yard bump down the line, because that happens a lot on like the 3rd and forever. Automatic first down, and now I breathe life into Russell Wilson. So, for example, in that certain circumstance, I defend Kyle in the sense that I hate those 3rd and longs when you give them another opportunity, because there's always some little like hands to the face down the field, and I hate that call.
Here's how I'm thinking it, though. I'm feeling at that situation, boy, the D-line is humming.
Yeah.
D-line is getting after Russell Wilson. They have no rhythm whatsoever in Denver. I don't want them getting any points. I want them to have a goose egg. I don't want them feeling good about themselves. Let's push them back and make them do something they're very uncomfortable with. So I didn't like the decision. And it's something we didn't talk about really yesterday because we're all angry and up in arms. But we're feeling emotional about this team because they have a really good team. But I'm looking at the head coach now. Now, this is where things get interesting. In the passing league, you look at pass attempts, and everybody's to say, well, the Niners run the ball. That's what gets them going. The one time they were in the top 5 in pass attempts was in 2017. Where they're behind all those football games, right? They were number 2 in the league in pass attempts.
Well, he had his guy. Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer. Look at this. 2018, they were 20th in the league in pass attempts. 2019, 29th in the league in pass attempts. 16 in 2020, 29th last year, and so far this year, 29th. You got to be able to throw the ball at some point. Passing yards, real quick. 9th, 15th, 13th, 12th, and now they're 29th so far to start this season. So middle of the pack, really. What that tells you with the 12, 13, with the lack of attempts, it tells you they're getting the chunk pass plays, right? The big ones down, the yak bros, I will say, because you're not throwing the ball down the field with Jimmy Garoppolo, but you're getting a lot of yards after the catch. So, look, maybe some people are focused on that, but here's the other thing. One more thing, Shasky. No, I'm long-winded here.
No, I love it.
Points.
Yeah.
They're 28th in 2017.
See, this is the biggest one for me, points.
Points per game under Kyle Shanahan. 28th, 13th, 21st, 2nd, 21st, and 20th. The one outlier, 2019.
When they were awesome.
Well, so 20th, 21st, 2nd, and then 21st, 13th, and now 28th.
So I think that we can all understand that the measurements in football are hard. The margins to win are razor thin.
Right.
Okay? I can't say this enough to people. Everyone goes, last year you went to the NFC Championship game. You were on the brink of the Super Bowl. You almost didn't make the playoffs
You're down 17-3. You were down 17-3 at the half.
Both are true statements. You made the playoffs by the skin of your teeth here. All right? I look at that 2019 season. From start to finish, they were pretty dominant. That was a pretty dominant
2019,
season. You got to give. I give everything. They did a great job, both offensive, defensive, quarterback play, running the ball with a little bit of everybody. Because I believe 2 different guys had the same amount of carries to lead them as a team. They were outstanding, top to bottom. Last year, a little wonky. It got where we wanted it to go. You get tons of credit for that. Here's where I struggle with trying to figure out who's good, who's not from the coaching. Just because you get to the NFC Championship game, does that mean you're really, really, really good as a coach? Do you have to win a Super Bowl to be a great coach? Mike McCarthy's got a Super Bowl. I don't think he's great.
No, he's not.
I mean, he won with his backup last night, and I thought that was nice for them, but I don't think he's great, and he's won a Super Bowl. So is the measurement only you have to win a Super Bowl? I thought Harbaugh was great.
Right.
But he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Do you think Brian Billick is great?
No.
And he's got a Super Bowl.
And that's what I'm saying. So
John Gruden, he's not great. He's proven that he's not great.
Exactly.
And he's got a Super Bowl.
Well, and then here's the other part. Not only, they might have been great in that season.
Right.
But then moving forward, did the game pass them by? Did they not evolve? Did they not add to their staff?
Exactly.
Did their staff get plucked? So Brian Book had Marvin Lewis on that staff.
Rex
Mike
Ryan.
Nolan, Rex Ryan.
Yep.
He had all these different guys who would go on to become head coaches. So I guess the question that I'm asking this morning when it comes to Shanahan, where's he at right now?
He's got a lot of roster turnover. Just last year. Think about all the departures. Mike McDaniel.
It's a big one.
Richard Hightower, special teams, because I think we all,
Scangarello.
whatever. But John Embry, he was the assistant head coach and tight ends coach. He was not retained. He later joined McDaniels down in Miami.
There you go.
Wes Welker, wide receiver coach, now in Miami. Butch Berry was the assistant offensive line coach. He's now in Denver, coaching the Broncos offensive line. The assistant offensive line coach, Zach Yenser, he went to Kentucky. So they've lost a lot of coaches. Scangarello, who you brought up. And then Bobby Turner is not with the team now, his longtime running back coach. But here's the other thing. Under a head coach that I look at. Penalties, takeaways, giveaways. The Niners, under Kyle Shanahan, 2017, they were 20th in takeaways and giveaways. 2018, last in the league in takeaways, giveaways. Now we get it. Garoppolo got hurt in week 3. Mullins and Bethel played. 2019, the outlier, they were 10th in the league. Even though that they were the best team in the league, they were 10th in the league in takeaways, giveaways. The year after 2020, 30th in the league. Last year, they were 22nd in the league in takeaways, giveaways. Now, then you go to penalties. Penalties. Is your team disciplined enough? 29th, 20th, 9th, 15th, 17th. They've been in the bottom half of the league in takeaways, giveaways, and penalties. Is that a reflection of the head coach or the players playing a disciplined football?
The discipline, I believe, goes back to the head coach. Here's where I question, and this goes right back to the Shanahan thing. I think he's really good. But then I come back to this same equation. How much of this is he's propping up the quarterback? How much of this is he doesn't have one of the elite quarterbacks? I don't even know the answer to this, B. I don't know the answer to this because do I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback? I think he's average, slightly above average on his best days, right? He's a B minus, right, in terms of a quarterback.
Yep.
That's the way and I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, I don't think he's one of the... A minus is like a Herbert, you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of prospect. A plus is your Josh Allen, your Patrick Mahomes, right? There's only a couple of those. I think he's in that B minus zone, right? On his good days. A game like the other day, that's like a D. I mean, that's a D version of Jimmy Garoppolo. What would Kyle look like with an A minus quarterback?
I don't know.
So I don't know either.
He's had chances to get A minus quarterbacks.
I do know this. He has. His takeovers and his giveaways, I think that ratio would look a hell of a lot better if he had a guy who protected the ball better, right? Like, that's not Jimmy Garoppolo's strength. So what I guess where I'm going at is I have the same question that I have today as 2017. What are we doing at quarterback?
Yeah, but again, isn't that on Kyle?
At some
isn't that
level,
at the end of the day on Kyle?
He has to take some accountability.
Because he has told us that he doesn't trust Jimmy like that. He told us that in Super Bowl 54. He kind of told us that in the NFC Championship game, even though I agree with the game plan. He told us that he doesn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo with his actions. So now, we're now in 2022. And we're about to go into year 7. So if there's any reason to stick with the 49ers and watch, because the season may spiral. I have my thoughts on that.
Well,
Trent Williams,
they can win this week and
they
be
can
right
win
back
this week.
in it.
But listen, Trent Williams is out 4 to 6 weeks. Azeez Al-Shaair is going to be out for 2 months. Right? So now the injuries are starting to hit you.
The Trent Williams one's humongous.
Humongous. You don't have Elijah Mitchell. I don't know what's up with Danny Gray. I don't know what's up with the other wide receivers. Can you get some explosives down the field? Where's George Kittle at?
Yeah.
This season may go awry. But then Niner fan may say, why should I watch? I think we need to watch how Shanahan manages these games moving forward and whether or not he is the solution long term. I'm not saying fire him. Because another thing, though, I noticed, and I want to bring this up on the other side. 7 years, and you still don't have a quarterback. 7 years, and you're still in the bottom half in penalties and takeaways and giveaways and points per game. You're supposed to be the offensive coach, and it looks like you're behind the times. You know what I'm saying? You're behind the times when it comes to offensive football. But
what's so funny is you say that, and I agree with it because I'm watching. Like, it looks so bad, and then all the all-22 people come up and they go, "Plays are out there. There's a ton of plays to be had, and Jimmy Garoppolo can't hit him."
But
so
we
then
knew Jimmy couldn't hit him, though.
I know.
We know Jimmy can't hit him.
So then I guess my question is play design and all this stuff. We think he's really good. But in terms of putting together the roster for offense and selecting the quarterback, is the personnel guy letting himself down?
Right. I don't know. We didn't see this. Some people want to see this playbook with Trey Lance yesterday or Sunday night.
Well, I did, yeah.
And the playbook with Trey Lance looked completely different than what we saw Sunday night against the Denver Broncos.
I would love to just inject some truth serum into Kyle Shanahan and go, dude, if you would have just got Brady, wouldn't things be just a hell of a lot easier on your plate? Wouldn't you just want to just scheme it up? Really, if you had just gotten Brady, wouldn't all of this just have been all been moot? Wouldn't you have one Super Bowl? I know Super Bowls are hard to get, but come on.
Maybe.
All the things we're questioning, you just give them. And I'm sure every fired coach, it's like going to prison. Every guy in prison thinks they're innocent. Every fired coach is like, if you'd have just given me Brady, but you literally had an opportunity to get him.
Well, I want to get into more Shanahan. We're going into year 7 next year, and right now the 49ers are 1-2. I just want to check the temperature of the fan base when it comes to Kyle Shanahan. Where are we at with Kyle Shanahan right now, with the Niners being 1-2, and he's 40-44 in his 6th year as a head coach of the 49ers? 40-44. Where are we at with them? That's coming up. Brought to you by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises.
Messenger helping you beat the books with BetQL. The Yankees can clinch just their 2nd division title in 10 years with a win in Toronto this evening. Toronto and New York each look to be playoff bound, and both teams are in top 6 in runs scored this season. Those offenses could be on display tonight with both starters sporting ERAs around. With possible history from the Yankees and Judge and 2 elite run-scoring teams, the BetQL 5-star play of the day is the over between the Yankees and the Blue Jays.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 10/1. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to GetRefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Oh, it's doing great. I've been on it now for about 3.5 years. I've lost 67 pounds, and I feel better than I did at age 40. The only thing I'm just getting older. That's the only thing that doesn't stop. Other than that, I feel good.
Listen, we're all getting older, but that doesn't mean you have to feel your age. Are you ready to turn back the clock? It's 2022, and there's never been a better time to start looking and feeling young again. Introducing Andro400.com. Andro400.com has proven solutions to melt belly fat, increase mood and memory, increase energy, and bring that spark back to your love life. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435 to see which product is right for you. Try the safe and natural way to start feeling and looking your best. And there's nothing to lose with an industry-leading 90-day money-back guarantee. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435.
Bart is turning 50 and we'd love to celebrate with you. Get 50% off your ride in honor of Bart's 50 years of service to the Bay Area when you pay with Clipper. That's 50% off Clipper Bart fares for the entire month of September. Add Clipper to your digital wallet for free. If you're eligible for other Clipper discounts like youth or senior fares, you get to take an additional 50% off those too. Details at bart.gov/50 years. That's bart.gov/50 years. Celebrate Bart's 50 years of service with us this September. Let's go.
Have you considered walking through another door? I don't mean to pursue another opportunity, but upgrading a door in your home. Now, if you are in fact looking for another opportunity, Golden State Window and Door can provide you with plenty. You can create renewed function and design for use indoors and out. You'll find modern options like Marvin's Elevate In-Swing French Door, Barn Doors by Trustyle, or Anderson Big Doors that welcome in natural light. Golden State Window and Door features a variety of materials, sizes, and glass options. You can get inspired by the many possibilities when you visit GoldenStateLumber.com. Click on Virtual Tours, and you'll discover beautifully planned displays of doors and windows of all kinds that will spark your imagination. Then, talk with our builder or designer to see what might be a good fit for your home. Serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
We are on a journey to make healthcare more accessible and more equitable, to treat the most complex diseases and offer hope where often there is little, to provide better care to more people across the Bay Area. We are more than a hospital, more than a university, beyond science and technology. We are the people of UCSF. UCSF Health, redefining possible.
When back to the office means back in traffic,
We unfortunately have a really bad situation going on in Hayward.
you can rely on your Northern California Honda Dealers Traffic Center.
Traffic is still jammed from Whipple, but I can see it starting to improve now that you have...
From your traffic leader, KCBS.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hockey season is here, and 95.7 The Game has your shot at tickets to check out the San Jose Sharks in their home opener against Carolina on October 14th. Listen to Willard and Dibbs around 10:30 for your chance to win.
What's going on, Roasters? It's Brian Baldy here with the NFL Network, and you're listening to The Morning Roast with Bonte and Shasky on 95.7 The Game.
Brian Baldinger, the smartest man in pro football, will break it down with us, and he has some thoughts on the safety that Jimmy Garoppolo took in the back of the end zone. He has some thoughts on that play call. Plus, we'll get in where the 49ers are at, Kyle Shanahan. And I want to start off with this because David Bruce said something yesterday that I'll get to in just a second about Kyle Shanahan. But remember back in August when Baldy joined us for the first time this football season, we're all excited. And then he dropped a little nuggy-nug about Mike McDaniel. And he said the 49ers will miss Mike McDaniel. I want to play the clip right here.
I could be wrong in this, so maybe I'm misspeaking, but I think he was the highest paid assistant coach in the NFL. Like, they didn't want to lose him. They never wanted to lose him. They didn't want to lose him in Atlanta. You know, like, he knew the value of Mike. Because he's like, look, it's Revenge of the Nerds with Mike. Because he's willing to put 15 hours in a film room to find one motion that's going to work on Sundays that's going to take Luke Kuechly out of the mix, and you're going to run right by him. Like, his ability to see how a defense reacts, anticipate how a defense is going to react, and then you counter that reaction. Like, he just had this skill that not a lot of people have.
So Baldy was on top of that saying the 49ers would miss Mike McDaniel. We both kind of looked at each other like, what did Mike McDaniel really do with the 49ers?
Which I think is a fair point of view if you don't have any insight as to what's going on inside that room, which most of us don't.
Yep.
But I guess, because I hear this a lot, well, McDaniels and LaFleur and all these guys are running Shanahan's plays. That's what you hear a lot of. So Mike McDaniel, just to give people a little backstory, I was listening to a Dolphin Insider podcast where he was on there during the offseason, and they asked him that. Are you just running Shanahan's playbook? Or like, what did you do over there? And he's like, well, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm the one who found Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
I'm the one who found Matt Breida. I went out and I said, let's put these guys on special teams. I have an opportunity. I think I can get them on the field if push comes to shove. And not only is he trying to find ridiculous speed, he's trying to find someone who plays with ridiculous speed, but has great feel for hitting spots. And so I'm just using a couple of personnel decisions where his guys, his hand-selected guys were better than the hand-selected guys by other people on that offensive staff that wanted other running backs. For
Including
example,
Shanahan.
Yeah, well, Joe Williams is one of them, for example, in that first year where he found Breida, and he's like, I think Breida's the actual player here and not this fourth-round pick who you traded up to go get in Joe Williams. Now, that doesn't mean he's the architect of every single play, but I'm just giving you an example.
It's funny, Matt Breida with the Giants last night. Got a nice little jet sweep for a first down.
Well,
go on.
Look, say what you want about Breida. He's been in the league.
I like Breida.
He's an undrafted free agent. He's solid.
Breida was solid in 2019.
As a third running back, he's
the moments he had in 2019 was big time. Big time. He was a good player.
So, and then I look at what he's doing right now. I mean, River Craycraft has done more in the Miami uniform than he ever did with the Niners.
More touchdown catches than Deebo Samuel right now.
So now this is where I think it gets difficult because Bill Walsh, for example, everyone would say, anyone on Bill Walsh's offensive side, Bill's the architect. Well, think about it. Take a step back. Why have we talked 30 years now since Mike Holmgren?
He's going to join us today at 8:30. Mike Holmgren.
Shanahan.
Yep.
I mean, go down the list of people that have been on that offensive staff. Sam Weish, who ended up taking over the Cincinnati Bengals. There is a lineage from Bill Walsh. So now, I'm not here to say that Shanahan doesn't get credit. What I'm saying is I don't think any of us knows. And only time's really going to tell.
Well, it feels like Shanahan's now missing him, right? It feels like he's missing the LaFleurs. Mike McDaniel was his run game coordinator. He created a run game, and then he became the passing game coordinator. Then the offensive coordinator title that he had last season. And I thought, man, but Shanahan calls the plays. But the way Baldy broke it down, and what we hear now is that McDaniels was figuring out the spacings. He was figuring out the motions. Now, Shanahan, I'm not taking anything away from Kyle Shanahan, but it felt like McDaniels did a lot for Kyle Shanahan. And you got to remember, McDaniels been with Shanahan, since he was with them in Atlanta. He was with them in Washington. He was with them in Houston. He met the Shanahans in Denver. Mike Shanahan back in Denver in the mid-2000s.
So, but how much of this is on the quarterback? Because, again, I'm watching the All-22s creep all over my timeline. That's the film from the Niner game. And it looks to me like there are plays all over the field to be made, and the quarterback's not executing. Whether you guys want to sit here and defend Jimmy, blame the offensive line, whatever. There are people open. So the question that I come back to, is it more on the coach? Is it on the quarterback?
Well,
is it somewhere in between?
It's on both. But I have a hard time, and we went at Jimmy, and Jimmy, we know who Jimmy is now. We know who Jimmy Garoppolo is.
Isn't it wild that 1 year ago, if you'd have asked me, Tua or Jimmy, I think 99% of people were taking Jimmy.
Yeah, now we're taking Tua.
And it's not even close.
Not even close.
Right?
Not even close. Jimmy didn't look like one of the best 32 quarterbacks in pro football last week.
It's kind of wild, though. I mean,
he did not look like it, right?
Yeah.
He looked like, oh, boy.
Cooper Rush looked better than him last night.
Cooper Rush looked way better.
And I don't say that lightly.
No, Cooper Rush did look better. Daniel Jones looked better than him last night.
Yeah,
Daniel Jones made plays despite being under siege all night. Here's what Damon said. And I want to pick this up, and I want to get to Anthony Eseliedra on the other side. But here's what David said yesterday with Damon and Rattle. 95-7 the game from 3 to 6. Here's what Damon said about Kyle Shanahan, which I thought was very, very intriguing.
And I'll just tell you right now, the 49ers aren't wasting this defense on a rookie quarterback. The 49ers aren't wasting this defense on Jimmy Garoppolo. 49ers might be wasting this defense on Kyle Shanahan. And if that's what's going on here, we got a problem that is too big to overcome without radically redoing a lot of things.
I disagree with Damon. I just, and I respect Damon like crazy. I understand where he's coming from on this. If you want to sit here and argue with me that personnel Kyle, relationship manager Kyle is kind of sabotaging schematic offensive mind Kyle, I'll listen to that. To say that Kyle's offense or whatever by his design is what's holding back the entire team, I would say quarterback play in general is holding back the entire team and has been for quite some time.
What if I came back at you and said the defense carried them to a Super Bowl appearance and an NFC Championship game?
I think
when I give you these numbers,
I think
offensively, the penalties,
you have a
the
great argument.
takeaways.
I think you have a great argument, and I'm probably losing it. If I were to weigh it out, I'd say you're probably 60-40 defense to offense in the years that they've won.
I'm going to pick this up on the other side.
Meaning the defense was more impactful.
Spectacular.
But I also think that discredits how great their run game was in those games to
really
close
good.
out playoff games.
No doubt.
How dynamic Debo was, how dynamic George Kittle was in a lot of playoff games. So I don't think it's fair. I'm still going to defend Kyle Shanahan.
I'm going to pick this up on the other side. Anthony San Leandro, hang tight. We'll get you on the other side. More coming up on the Morning Roast, brought to you by Fremont Bake, full-service baking, no compromises.
Steiny and Guru stream live on YouTube and Twitch every day.
But Kyle, because he knows more than everybody else in the room, now says, let's just go out and get Jimmy as a backup. Just because Jimmy's playing as your backup does not leave Kyle Shanahan off the hook.
This is the Bay Area's sports station.
Yep.
95.7 The Game.
The Grand National Rodeo is making its triumphant return to the Cow Palace on October 7th and 8th. Don't miss the awe-inspiring action of the Bronco Bucks of bareback riding, steer wrestling, bull riding, and all that you love about the rodeo. Get your tickets now at cowpalace.com and click Grand National Home. The anticipation is high for the 2022 Grand National Rodeo, October 7th and 8th.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Do you have neuropathy? Are you experiencing numbness, tingling, and pain that just won't stop? Are you taking dangerous drugs that have serious side effects and never fix the pain? If so, please listen to this message. Neuropathy is a serious, progressive condition that only gets worse if not treated properly. Call SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE to get back to doing the things you want to do. There is no drug, exercise, or surgery that can heal nerves. Don't wait until your condition gets worse and stops you from living your life fully. SF Bay Wellness has a time-tested, proven track record of helping hundreds of patients to improve and reverse their neuropathy. If you're ready to regain your independence, contact SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE. Call now for your $99 neuropathy special and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Call 844-94-NERVE. That's 844-94-NERVE and start to enjoy life again.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
O'Reilly! Improve fuel mileage with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. A clean fuel system can increase your vehicle's performance and gas mileage. Get Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner starting at $9.99 and earn 10 times O Rewards points on your purchase. Get the most out of every gallon. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or shop O'ReillyAuto.com today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Loyalty Lab Interview 6. Subject, grandmother's loyalty. Margie, what do you do when your grandson misbehaves?
Angels don't misbehave.
Here we study the most loyal, like you and... Oh, there goes the lamp.
You shouldn't have put it there.
Shell and the Fuel Rewards program has our members' backs too. It's super easy to save on every gallon. Loyal, just like how you acted like that wasn't his fault.
Someone should clean that up before he gets hurt.
Yes! Loyal, just like that.
10 years of FR.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Cuomo premieres on News Nation Monday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Breaking news on 95.7 The Game is brought to you by Beat the Street. For tips to win a $5.6 million prize. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh my God!
Now, back to the Morning Roast with Bonte and Shasky.
Welcome back to the Morning Roast here on a Tuesday morning. Baldy at 7:30. Brian Baldinger joins us every single week at 7:30. He'll break down the latest loss for the 49ers, an 11-10 loss to the Denver Broncos in what may have been one of the uglier football games ever on primetime television. Also, Mike Holmgren, 8:30, former assistant coach, offensive coordinator for the 49ers, won a Super Bowl as head coach with the Green Bay Packers. City guy. We love Mike Holmgren on the roast. He'll break down what he's seen from Jimmy Garoppolo and what he thought of the usage of Trey Lance as Trey Lance is out for the year. Also some injury news, Niner fans and roasters. Trent Williams out 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Trent Williams sprained his ankle on that safety. DJ Jones got thrown into him. Thankfully, it's not nothing more serious, but Trent Williams, star left tackle, one of the best players in football, out for 4 to 6 weeks. So the protection for Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to get any better.
No.
Azeez Al-Shaair is going to be out for a couple months. He's got an MCL sprain. He's got something going on with his knee. So the injuries are starting to pile up for the 49ers as they get ready to host Monday Night Football against the LA Rams. And we're talking about Shanahan.
Yeah.
Look, we're not saying that Shanahan should be on the hot seat. But I wonder, where are we at with this franchise right now? As we look at them 1-2, and I don't care about last year going 3-5 and then going to the NFC Championship game because we know how close they were to not going to the playoffs. The Houston game at home, they were down at halftime. They could have lost that game, and there would have been no playoffs with Trey Lance at quarterback.
Down in the Rams game in Week 18,
17-0.
And things had to fall their way to get into the playoffs.
No doubt. So let's go to Anthony Asaliandro. He's been on hold for a second. I want to get his feeling on Kyle Shanahan because a lot of people are down on Shanahan. I just want to know what that means. Does that mean you want him out? Does that mean you think he's a long-term solution? What does that mean? Let's get to Anthony Asaliandro. He's listening via the Odyssey app. What's up, Anthony?
Good morning, fellas. How you guys doing this morning?
I can't complain, man.
Good, man. Appreciate both of you guys. So I actually put some notes down because I just wanted to make sure I stayed on point. So to answer your original question, I personally think Kyle Shanahan is exactly who he's always shown us. When things kind of fall in place perfectly on the field, he looks like the quote-unquote boy genius that people say he is. But I think as a coach, I don't believe he makes anyone better. I also don't believe that he empowers his players. I just don't see that from him. And then the other part is I don't believe that he plays to his players' strengths. Like, I think that he doesn't set them up for success by putting them in position to do what they do best. sometimes I feel like he limits his players, whether it's asking them to do something they don't do very well, or he's not putting them in a position to do things that they do very well. But the other part of my call is, I think that I hate to say this, guys, but I really think the 49ers Super Bowl window is closed. And the reason I say that is because teams that usually get to the Super Bowl, in my opinion, from what I just see when I watch football, are teams that get better in the offseason. And I did not see the Niners honestly get better in the offseason, but I've seen other teams in our division get better. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and that I believe Miami's the NFC team as well, they've gotten better, and they've gotten significantly better, whether it's on the offensive side and then, of course, on the defensive side as well. Like, they put key players in positions to make their quarterback better as well. Like, you look at Tua getting Tyreek Hill, and then you also look at Jalen Hurts getting that my guy from Tennessee. So I look at those things, those factors, and I look at the Niners. I don't see them. They didn't get better in the offseason. And the other part is that Kyle said that the league knows what they're going to do now, which means that unless everything is perfect when that play is called and it works perfectly, everybody knows what we're going to do. And so there's not really a lack of it has to be like a perfect execution. And if it's not, we get what we got on Sunday. So I know I said a lot, but you guys can
we hear you.
Your opinions on that.
You're right. A.J. Brown goes to Philadelphia. Now, all of a sudden, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith look like one of the sickest duos at wide receiver in the NFL. So there's that. I wonder what the feeling is. Where are you at with Shanahan? Because you've been a big Shanahan backer.
Yeah. It's
a big-time backer.
I think where I'm at today is there's a couple of things. The first part is quarterback, which is we can't talk about good coaches around the league without talking about quarterback. Very few coaches in the history of the NFL have had sustained success, multiple years of success with multiple quarterbacks. It's really hard to find one good quarterback.
Joe Gibbs did it. He's like the outlier. He won 3 different Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks.
But I'm not even saying Super Bowl. I'm just saying being good. Like Bill Cowher did it with a couple different quarterbacks, but it felt like he couldn't do it back-to-back years.
No, he's got the one Super Bowl. And even then, Ben Roethlisberger was so young that they used a great defense and a strong running game and gadget plays with Hines Ward and Antoine Randall and Willie Parker, of course, to win that Super Bowl against Seattle.
I mean, it's a very short list of people. Like Andy Reid is clearly, Bill Parcells clearly. Like you got, obviously, who you referenced, Joe Gibbs, who's up there. Mark
Rippon, Joe Theismann, Doug Williams under Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
John Shula.
Don Shula. But those guys coached for 20 years plus, each of them. Now, I don't know how long Shanahan's going to coach. Some guys, like we were talking about earlier, go their whole career and can never find one quarterback. Or for whatever reason, things don't work out for them with that quarterback. I believe that Kyle Shanahan, through smoke and mirrors, has made Jimmy Garoppolo so much better than what he truly is. If I would have just plopped Jimmy G, and I'm not taking anything away, I think Jimmy is very average at a lot of things. If we were just ranking skill sets, we can sit here and argue about it like, oh, he's got a quick release. He doesn't see the field. He's not mobile. I don't think he throws guys open. I think he has to see the wide open throw before he can make it. I think his accuracy is wildly overrated. Like, I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo, people are knocking their door down to go acquire him. And I think Kyle Shanahan deserves an absolute ton of credit for propping him up. Now, the other side is true as well. Shanahan can't win without Garoppolo. Like, that's a fact right now in terms of the record. But I do believe Shanahan deserves a lot of credit there. I was so looking forward to seeing whether him and Trey could work. That's what that was going to be the ultimate litmus test for me. Was it going to work? So I feel like I have to reserve my judgment on completely crushing the guy until he gets a chance to work with his dude.
Yeah, but you know what? And that's where, where everything you said is on point. But we're like, we have to wait to see him work with Trey Lance. Well, part of the reason why we're not seeing Trey Lance right now is because the way he utilized Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan. It felt like, man, he doesn't want to let Trey Lance throw. And when I throw these numbers at you and looking at pass attempts, last year the 49ers were 29th in pass attempts. Well, they're on track to be one of the worst teams in the league when it came to pass attempts this season. We saw 36 run plays.
But would you throw with Jimmy?
I'm saying throwing with Trey. Throwing the ball with Trey.
Yeah.
Like, Jimmy, I'm saying, well, now with Jimmy, I would like to see him throw with Jimmy just to be like, okay, look, management, John Lynch, Adam Peters, Jet York, Parag Marate. I can't win with Jimmy. I opened up the playbook. I can't win with Jimmy. We saw that at the end of the Super Bowl when he dialed up 4 pass plays in a row at midfield with the minute 49 left and 3 timeouts. I'm thinking, Shanahan, run the ball. Remember, I was in that room. Run the ball, Shanahan. Run the ball. You don't need to throw it. You don't need to leave time for Mahomes. Run the ball. Not only that, because Garoppolo's off right now. You got to take the ball out of his hands. There's so many games where I've seen Garoppolo throw an interception and the Niners come back that next offensive possession and they just stick to the run. They maybe throw one pass play in there. I remember the Cincinnati game back in 2019. Garoppolo throws a pick. There was like 5 Bengals there. Remember that? It was like, what the hell is going on here? The next possession, Shanahan goes right down the field. It was like 6 run plays, 1 pass play. That's what we do. You got to take the ball out of his hands. But with Trey Lance, the playbook and the game plan, we're all waiting to see Trey Lance throw that ball. That's what we've been waiting for, right? A deep down the field, accurate passer. We're all excited about that with Trey Lance. And then we saw him running the ball. And we saw him running the ball over and over and over again. And we're thinking, where's the boot action? Where's the passing plays on 3rd down? Why? Unleash him. I get he's young, but unleash him. How much better did Jalen Hurts get last year, taking all those bumps and bruises, throwing all those interceptions, going to the playoffs, takes that tape, goes into the offense, you add A.J. Brown, and now look at Jalen Hurts. He looks like an entirely different quarterback.
You're 100% right. But Jalen Hurts has the luxury of 25 career starts.
Yes, no doubt.
And now it's starting to pay dividends. Too many people are so quick, he's not ready. We do this crazy thing, Lance not ready, which you're listening to idiots who weren't at practice watching people throw footballs.
I thought Lance was ready. I thought Lance was literally ready to go last year, and he could have worked out the kinks,
It's going to be a work in progress. Like, that's what people don't understand. It's going to be, is their center ready? Is Jake Brendel ready?
No.
You know, he doesn't look like he's ready. Like, this thing that people aren't ready is just ridiculous. You got to play and have an opportunity to grow. And I feel like they've totally pinned themselves in. So if you're asking about Shanahan, the biggest problem right now for Shanahan is his own, whether it's him, Peters, Lynch, I don't even know. Some of their own stubbornness on personnel has boxed them in terms of their game-to-game operations. And that's the way. I truly believe. I think when it comes to opening up the playbook, setting people up for success, I think he's really good at that. Where I think he struggles with the relationship portion, game management situations, and his own personnel decisions.
Right. So a lot of people talk about Jalen Hurts playing at Alabama. I actually thought he got better when he played at Oklahoma.
No, he played way better. He could not throw at Alabama.
Alabama got his job took by Tua. Tua Tagovailoa took his job at Alabama. Oklahoma's where he started to thrive with CeeDee Lamb and Lincoln Riley. Now, you talk about game day decisions, roster management. Again, giveaways, takeaways. The Niners have been in the bottom half with the exception of 2019. 2019 is the outlier for everything. Offensive ranking, points per game, all that stuff. 2019 was a special year. Hands down, the best team under Kyle Shanahan. But you talk about relationships. You talk about communication. And that's where I see D'Amico Ryans on that sideline on Saturday. And I'm saying to myself, and everybody, you heard Mark Willard, you better not get used to D'Amico. He's going to be gone. To me, Shasky, that's a guy I don't want to leave the building. I don't want him to leave the building. I don't. I see him, and it's contagious. His energy is contagious towards that defense. He's jumping up and down. He's high-fiving. They're flying to the football. This defense has gotten better under D'Amico.
Didn't we say that about Saleh?
We did.
And they found a guy unknown out of nowhere. To give Kyle credit.
But D'Amico's been in the system for a while.
No doubt. He's found great coordinators.
Yes.
And I questioned Saleh for like a whole 2 years. I questioned Saleh, and I was wrong on Saleh. Saleh did a great job. D'Amico may be better. He may be worse than Saleh. I'll give Kyle this. He's replenished that defensive side of the ball in terms of the staff.
No doubt.
So in terms of building a staff, he does a great job there.
But you talk about relationships and communication and all that jazz. Doesn't it feel like D'Amico communicates a lot better than Shanahan right now? I know it's tough as a coordinator because we see him. He's calling the plays. He's into his defense. It just feels like he's a guy I don't want to leave the building. And then I look at all the other coaches around him and the coaches that have left Shanahan. And I look at Anthony Lynn. We all think highly of Anthony Lynn. But then you go back to his Charger days. Why did Anthony Lynn get fired? Spadoni knows. He's a Raider fan. He sees Anthony Lynn in the AFC West. Decision-making. 4th and 1s, goal to goals, when to go for it, when not to go for it. That destroyed Anthony Lynn with the Chargers. Destroyed him.
Andy Reid is still having problems, but He has the one Super Bowl, and so he's above criticism.
He's above criticism. But here's what I'm getting at with that.
People were going crazy when him not taking a timeout with Mahomes the other day.
No doubt. Here's what I'm getting at.
Him and the enemy were arguing as they're coming off the field.
Yeah, no doubt. Here's what I'm getting at with Anthony Lynn, though. Who's the guy to help Shanahan on game day with these decisions? Who's like McVay? Remember when he first came out, he learned the game. He had Wade Phillips.
Yeah.
He had
the clock management guy.
He had so much experience on that coaching staff in the front office. We got to remember, John Lynch is a first-time GM. Shanahan is a first-time head coach.
Yeah, but they're 6 years in.
They're 6 years in.
I'd wipe that away.
But who is helping these guys with decision makings? There's still nobody telling Shanahan, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, because he has full autonomy in the team. Full autonomy in decision making and the personnel and the play calling.
The game situation or the situational management game to game, it leaves a lot to be desired.
It's a nightmare.
You know, like here's a great example. Just the other day, okay, it's 3rd and long with 10 minutes to go. Okay, you have to understand you're in 4-down territory. All right, you're down by 1 point. You're at the 47, and you throw an underneath pass that gets knocked down. And it's just, to me, that's 4-down territory. Get me 3 or 4 yards right there. And again, we could argue about the quarterback or this, that, and the other, but you end up punting from your own 47. When you went for it the week prior against Seattle, now you can say, Joe, circumstances were different. You know, the settings were different. It's not Russell Wilson. But like that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of inconsistencies within the own game of going for it and when not to go for it. Kyle, it feels like he's flipping a coin out there at times. Like the short yardage situation stuff. I can think on my head, there's been 2 times he's won a game. One of them was the Ram game last year where he threw to Kittle on a 4th down, 4th and 2, and ended up changing that game, where he's won a game being aggressive. And I wish that he would be more aggressive, and I understand why he doesn't, and I feel like it goes right back to the confidence in the quarterback.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. But it
also feels like a crutch. It also feels like a crutch.
How long can you use that excuse? Hold on. You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at AC1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date sports coverage. And do not forget, you can also watch us every day on our YouTube and Twitch streams. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. YouTube, what is happening? Twitch, what is happening? Comcast Business Text Line, I see ya. And good morning to everybody out there calling, getting ready for work. 888-957-9570. Keep going back to the quarterback. I'm tired of hearing about the quarterback because we know who he is. How long are we going to use this crutch that Jimmy G isn't the answer? Jimmy G's not the answer. Why is he still here? Why is the head coach telling everybody on a Friday he's one of the best throwers on the planet?
Well, he's trying to prop him up.
It's too late for that.
He's trying to prop him up.
That relationship is damaged. Here's what Steve Young said yesterday.
I don't dismiss that.
Here's what Steve Young said yesterday about the relationship between Kyle and Jimmy.
The trust between head coach Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo has never been what it needed to be. How do I gain trust? Because how did he try to manage the situation? I managed with a great, innovative running game. It's really one best in the league.
Exactly. Yes.
They don't have the runner now. They've got people hurt. So there's no way to not expose this lack of trust. It has to come out now, and they have to see if they can work it out.
They've never had trust between each other. Or Shanahan hasn't trusted Garoppolo. So the Garoppolo excuse saying, I don't trust Garoppolo. Well, you know what, Shanahan? You had many chances to move off of him. Many. And yet he's still here. You don't get that excuse anymore. So, I can't go there anymore. We know who Garoppolo is. We know he's a game manager. We know he's going to miss throws. We know the Jimmy O throws are coming. I know all that stuff. But part of the reason why he's here is because of the head coach.
I can't argue that part. I really can't. I mean, I really can't. But going back to like the trusting thing, at some point, like Jimmy's just got to make some plays, for crying out loud. Guys are open. Not all the time, but there are guys open, and he just skips balls. Or he makes horrible decisions. I mean, Mark Willard, to his credit, I'm listening to him yesterday saying it over and over, and he's so right. It's first down. And Jimmy, not Kyle, Jimmy, first down, is throwing into triple coverage to Debo, who's not open at all. Like, at some point, we got to look at some of these players and say, dude, you got to play better. Now, the screenplay from the one,
that's on Shanahan.
Agreed. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But there's other times in the game where you're like, come on, guys, make a play for me here.
Right. See, and I agree with that. Garoppolo's got to make plays. But he hasn't made those plays.
I know.
He hasn't made those plays. After the 2019 Super Bowl, or 2020, early February, the 2019 season, Shanahan basically told us in that game he doesn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. So he's back for 2020, 2021, and 2022. We knew 3 years ago he didn't trust his quarterback. Yet he's still here?
Well, it's hard to move off people when you have guaranteed money. I mean, that goes back to the personnel.
They had opt-out clauses, though.
I know.
April 1st, they had opt-out clauses for Jimmy. They could have moved off this guy forever.
So we've hearing a lot about Sean Payton, though, B. Right? We've heard a lot about Sean Payton. If I just took Drew Brees away from Sean Payton, does everyone still want him? They won the one Super Bowl, and I'm not taking it away from them.
Sean Payton was really good as a coordinator with the New York Giants.
Horrific losses.
You know what, though?
Horrific losses in the playoffs.
You know what, though? Sean Payton had really good seasons with Kerry Collins in New York. Dallas, they made some things happen. In Dallas, as an offensive coordinator, New Orleans, he built that team up, and they were one of the most potent offenses throughout his tenure. They were one of the most potent offenses. Yes, they have a lot of playoff failures.
Huge ones.
Huge ones. That's what happens in the NFL. Andy Reid has them. Belichick has them. Bill Walsh has them.
So then
George Seifert has them.
Why
Mike
can't
Holmgren
we extend
has
that
them.
to Shanahan?
We do.
You think we do?
We do. But he's had 4 losing seasons out of 6. Or excuse me, three losing seasons out of 5 so far. And so far they're 1-2.
Like if I were to flip it and say, hey, they had Drew Brees here on this offense, I feel like a lot of the issues that we've got with Shanahan go away.
But I go back to, you could have had Tom Brady.
I can't be. That's the guy I wanted. I know. It drives me nuts.
A lot of people wanted him.
Nuts.
But he could have had Tom Brady.
I know.
And he could have had Deshaun Watson.
And they whiffed.
He could have had Patrick Mahomes.
I know.
He could have maybe traded for Matthew Stafford. He had Trey Lance. And he ran him like a fullback. So all these excuses we keep going back to, it goes back to Shanahan. And that's why my faith in him, long term, like I'm going to watch this season no matter what. The Niners could be 1-10. I'm going to be locked in on Shanahan.
Yeah, that's obvious.
No, it's not obvious because some people will tune out.
Okay.
But I'm going to be watching and saying, does the team quit on him? Do they get better when it comes to committing penalties? Do they get better when it comes to takeaways? Again, they lost a takeaway game against Denver on Sunday night.
I know.
They lost a takeaway game again. And they've been in the bottom half of the league when it comes to takeaways, giveaways throughout his tenure. That's a trend. Yeah. This is a trend, Shasky. The pass attempts.
I can't argue those trends.
The points per game. The points per game, they've been in the 20s 4 times now in the last 6 years. So far, they're in the 20s.
Look, this is why I'm so conflicted with Shanahan. Because I do believe the guy does so many great things out on the field. Because I see guys open and you're like, wow, this guy's a stud, and this guy's a stud, and this guy's a stud. And then I go back to this basic question. Joe, are you more confident in him and quarterbacks and fixing that situation now or when they started in 2017?
You were more confident in 2017, huh?
I feel like I was.
You're not confident now. I know you're not. And I know a lot of Niner fans aren't.
There's just so much unknown. I feel like there's more question marks.
A lot of question marks.
I mean, they had nothing. They were starting from scratch. And I feel like nothing's changed. And that's the biggest disappointment. And they've had so much success. And they've had some down years. They have had so much success. But the biggest frustration is you don't have the quarterback spot fixed. And that's the thing that's like,
He hasn't fixed the quarterback spot. And it's year 6. AJ Freeball, before we hit the break. AJ Freeball, what's happening? He's listening on his car radio. He's on the roast. What's up, AJ?
Guys, good morning, and I'm always, on this morning, and
thank you.
I hear you guys all the time. So 2 things, right? I mean, one thing is we all know that DeMarco Ryans will be gone end of the season. He goes, he's going to take few good, people with him. Now, the way offense is going down the hill, we have defense is gone, so we're not going to have a defense guy sitting on the team with us. And Kyle Shanahan is Kyle Shanahan. From last, history speaks for himself. So what happens to Jed York? Do you really think that he's going to sit back and say, oh, wow, I got to rebuild the team again? That's my first question. Second thing is that the way Jimmy handled the media, that was highly unprofessional.
What part?
I mean, blaming the people. When he said, I was not in sync with these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Their team. This was his team from 5 years. This is his team. I mean, he was never off. I mean, I understand he went through all this kind of stuff, but you can't blame on these people at all. Be a man, take responsibility, and say, guys, I screwed up. I got to fix my game. Period.
Yep, no, you're right.
Emotional intelligence is the number one attribute in sports for my leaders, right? You look at Steph Curry, emotional intelligence. Josh Allen, you see him, self-awareness, emotional intelligence.
I saw a little bit with Trey Lance.
When I look at Jimmy Garoppolo, the last thing I think about is emotional intelligence. He just be saying stuff.
Yeah, hey, I'm not in game shape, yada, yada, yada. Last week it was like riding the bike, you're comfortable. This week it's,
and it wouldn't matter if he was
OTAs.
Spectacular, right? But he's not spectacular.
No, he's not. All right, Duke of the City, we'll get you on the other side, plus Brian Baldy at 7:30 here on the Morning Roast. That's coming up. Brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full service banking. No compromises.
Damon and Ratto stream live on YouTube and Twitch every day.
First thing you want to bring up is Kyle. Nice going, dingus. It's all Kyle. Every missed receiver is still an uncoached, unimproved upon Jimmy Garoppolo. Coach your team up.
This is the Bay Area's sports station.
Oh, bite me.
95.7 The Game.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Does your heart long to wander? To encounter colorful creatures from the deep blue sea? And amazing animals from the Amazon and beyond? Feed your wild heart. Travel the world right here in San Francisco. Make your reservation to the California Academy of Sciences at calacademy.org. Explore Wanderwoods, our new outdoor playscape, now open.
O'Reilly! O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available to rent for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Ask our professional parts people about the loaner tool program today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Bart is turning 50, and we'd love to celebrate with you. Get 50% off of your ride in honor of Bart's 50 years of service to the Bay Area when you pay with Clipper. That's 50% off Clipper Bart fares for the entire month of September. Add Clipper to your digital wallet for free. If you're eligible for other Clipper discounts like youth or senior fares, you get to take an additional 50% off of those too. Details at bart.gov/50 years. Celebrate Bart's 50 years of service with us this September. Let's go!
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
When back to the office means back in traffic.
Tracking the 3 right lanes, multiple emergency crews on the scene.
You can rely on your Northern California Honda dealers traffic center.
On the shoulder now, so that's good. Traffic is getting by.
From your traffic leader, KCBS.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Hockey season is here, and 95.7 The Game has your shot at tickets to check out the San Jose Sharks in their home opener against Carolina on October 14th. Listen to Willard and Dibbs around 10:30 for your chance to win.
Now, back to the Morning Roast with Bonte and Shasky.
Boom, 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 boom. Brian Baldinger coming up in 12 minutes on the Morning Roast to break down what happened in Denver between the Niners and the Broncos. Niners dropped to 1-2, losing 11-10. 11-10, and today we're talking about some of the questionable decisions, not only in that game, but some of the questionable decisions Kyle Shanahan has made, because there's a lot of talk. Damon Bruce said, the defense is getting wasted, not by Garoppolo, not by the rookie quarterback, but maybe by Kyle Shanahan. Baldy mentioned this back in August. It's like, they're going to miss Mike McDaniel. And then I hear Mark Willard, and he said, hey, if the Niners ever fire Kyle Shanahan, there will be a line around the block waiting on Kyle Shanahan to hire him. Now, personally, I wouldn't care about that because we'd all be fixated on who the guy is for the 49ers. At that point, it'd be like, hey, Shanahan, happy trails. Good luck to you in the future. We're on to the next. But I'm not there with Shanahan. I'm not there on the firing or whatnot. But I'm seeing some alarming trends with Kyle Shanahan, Shasky.
Well, okay, just one thing.
Alarming trends.
I'm not here to fire Shanahan at all.
We're not. We never said that.
I want to ask you a question. Remove Shanahan. Just remove your emotion and your attachment to Shanahan. In terms of, there'd be millions of people lining up to go get him. Okay, fine. When you've decided to move off someone, in general, whatever industry it is,
you move off.
You can't worry about that person remarrying.
No doubt.
Right? You just can't. You have to worry about who you're going to marry next. And I just look at where the Niners are now versus where they were when they hired Shanahan. I feel like they're viewed around the league much better today than they were then.
No doubt.
You were coming off of 4 different head coaches in 4 years, leaks like crazy. No one wanted the job. You had to overpay. I mean, people were declining to even talk to you. I don't think that's the case now.
No.
So you cannot, if they I'm not saying they're going to get there, and I don't want them gone, but I'm just saying in terms of it being a desirable job, I think it's much more desirable today than it ever was when Kyle Shanahan was a offensive coordinator looking to interview for the job currently.
I'm with you. Here's what RG3 said yesterday about Jimmy Garoppolo, the 49ers. RG3 on Monday Night Countdown.
So, Steve, to your point, does Jimmy still give them the best chance to win
That question to me is very simple. Yes, he does, but it's only because Trey Lance is no longer available. All you guys said that Jimmy G was going to make them a better team right now than Trey Lance would, and I disagreed with you. And what you saw in that game is exactly why. The man went full Orlovsky. And you never go full Orlovsky.
And then throw the pick six.
Listen, I don't know what was worse, that or the pick six that got called back. So listen, their recipe for success has always been protecting Jimmy by running the ball and getting it into Deebo Samuel's hands early so he can go get that yak yardage. And right now, without Trent Williams, that's going to be...
they're bringing up something that I kept saying the whole time while we're watching Jimmy G and during the summer, like this thing that we do this thing in sports. We listen to the dumbest argument and we prop it up. Trey's not ready. I hear that I'm out at a golf tournament yesterday, okay, for a fundraiser for the Benedetti family, and it was an awesome day, and for the Junior Giants, and the amount of people, well, Trey's just not ready. Yeah. And I'm like, based off what have you seen?
Based off what?
What have you seen? So, but here's my kickback. Okay, Trey's not ready, which fine. You can have that opinion based off the 5 quarters, fine. Throw that to the side.
Does Jimmy look ready?
Garoppolo is a 9-year veteran who does not see the field.
Right. Does Jimmy Garoppolo look ready?
His football IQ is horrific.
Horrific. So let me jump in here because
horrific.
Because that's the thing I think people misunderstood from me yesterday. I was irate, not about the game, but about everything leading up to the game and the aftermath of the game.
Like what? The way we talk about?
The way we discuss Trey Lance saying, number one, he's not ready. I'd never believed that. I believe Trey was more than ready. What I saw in Chicago, I said, this is my guy. This guy's ready to take off. Now things went awry in Chicago. Monsoon hits, game over. We forget the first 2 drives against Seattle. The Niners moved the ball like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. But the problem was Trey kept running. My biggest beef with what happened last week, and it started during the game, where people said, boy, Baldy, you got to admit, the Niners did look better with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. And I'm like, how are we going to determine that after just 5 quarters of football?
Because people, and I've now realized it, people are comfortable with what they've seen before, and they associate disproportionately Jimmy Garoppolo's impact on success. And they're like, well, he was the guy who was there while we were successful, hence we have to do this transitive property thing where he's part of the reason, and so he stays there.
We did the same thing with the Warriors last year. People say, boy, Wiggins getting to the playoffs. I don't know. Jordan Poole gets into the playoffs. It's his first go-round in the postseason. I don't know. Is Looney going to hold up? Is he going to be ready?
You're right.
A lot of people said the Warriors wouldn't be ready. A lot of people said the Wiggins wouldn't be ready.
Well, it's these
Poole didn't get ready.
It's these casual opinions. Like Steph Curry wasn't good. I mean, again, take Jimmy G off the side.
Right.
We said for how many months, years, as a national media, not you and I, but nationally, Steph Curry's done nothing in big games. When we all knew the data points and all the games, you and I have cited him over and over and over and over and over again.
He's been more than ready.
Yet the loud noise now supersedes the facts. It's the same thing with Jimmy G. We have pounded in the head of people the win-loss record.
It's just, it's not only that.
It drives me crazy.
What else drives me crazy, too, is that we all salivate over Josh Allen now. We all salivate over Lamar Jackson now. They weren't ready when they first played.
No.
Well, they got better with reps. And then how many people go ahead and they put Herbert on this pedestal, and they put Herbert in the same class as Mahomes and Josh Allen, and I'm saying to myself, Kyler Murray's been to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Now, I'd probably rather have Justin Herbert, but Herbert, he hasn't been to the playoffs yet. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson's been to the playoffs. Well, we just elevate Herbert because we see a couple of national TV games and he throws the ball all over the place. They've lost a lot of big games. And the game they lost last Thursday night, he threw the game-winning 99-yard pick on the back throw.
Well, what's crazy, no, you're right. You're 100% right. What's crazy is that we do this thing, well, Jimmy was under center when they went to the playoffs. They don't even get to the playoffs last year without the Trey win.
No.
It's as if that game didn't even happen. It's as if that game didn't even happen.
So part of my frustration yesterday was...
And it wasn't a perfect game.
No, it wasn't a perfect game at all. It was until the 2 halves.
He was good
in the second half. He adjusted, and the Niners won that football game to give them a chance to go to the playoffs. The thing... And people were doing this in the thread. They were posting preseason highlight packages of Trey Lance against the Texans. And I'm like, why don't you post week 17 from last year against the Texans in the game that mattered? All right, let's get to Duke in the City. He's been waiting on the car radio. Duke in the City, one of our favorites here on the Russell. What's up, Duke?
Yes, good morning, y'all, man. Beautiful show, man. My brother and nephews, man. This is a great show y'all having this morning, man. My issue, man, is with I know, Shafky, you got Shanahan back, man, but the play calling is becoming predictable, man. You know what I mean? Everything that Shanahan does, you can see it's like the defense knows what they're getting ready to do before they even do it, you know? And then the relationship with him and Jimmy G, they don't have a relationship. That's why our offense is looking sputtered like it's looking, because the quarterback and the head coach gotta have some type of relationship together, you know, and they don't have no relationship at all. You know, Jimmy overthrowing people, he underthrowing people, he's throwing in the double coverage, he's backing out the end zone, he's doing nothing that an experienced quarterback should be doing after playing for 9 seasons, stepping out of the back of the end zone. I mean, come on, man. Mm-hmm. Now you can see why everybody won't Trey in there. Yeah, we won't Trey, but we stuck with Jimmy. That's what it is. We stuck with him at this point. Right. You know what I mean? And then that's just what it is, y'all. So hopefully that defense catch up. The offense catch up to the defense, because it's going to be a shame to see the Super Bowl defense go to waste with an offense that's sputtering like they sputter. Man, they averaging 15 points a game. We 27th in the league in scoring, y'all, man. I'm out of here, man. I love y'all, man.
And they were 20th last year, Duke. They were 13th last year and 21st the year before. They've never, outside of 2019, if you take 2019 away, because that was a spectacular season, they've never been higher than 13th outside of 2019. They've been 13th, 20th, 21st, and 28th so far this year. And you could say the quarterback, you could say the injuries, you could say all those things. But we hired Shanahan because he was a great offensive mind, right? Mm-hmm. And his offense has been anything but great. It's been, hey, let's play smash mouth football. Let's not turn the ball over. Let's hand the ball over to our defense and stuff it out. Does that sound like a great offensive philosophy?
No, but it also feels very limited because of the guy that you got pulling the trigger. And it's hard for me to sit here and visualize what it would look like with a better quarterback. I don't know. I don't know what it would look like, B. Here's the biggest issue.
And again, part of that is on the coach.
That's the personnel.
For having think about this. We're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo in 2022 when since 2019, midway through.
The Viking game.
Not even the Viking game. The first Packers game, when somebody called the post-game show from Oakland and said, Bonte, the game should have been a bigger route, but Jimmy missed throws in the first half. I said, they won 37-8. What are we nitpicking for? We're not allowed to nitpick when we have been garbage for years. I'm saying that about the 49ers. Yeah. We've talked about Jimmy for 2019. And how long have I yelled, Shanahan, go get your guy? Been doing this since 2019.
Isn't that easier said than done? Like, the Jets have been trying to get their guy for 60 years.
Yeah, but you know what? They take chances on other guys. They pivot really quick.
Yeah, but they're also dysfunctional. And
they are dysfunctional.
You're trying to win at a high level and not get fired.
But they pivot quickly.
No, that's true.
On the quarterback.
The biggest problem with Jimmy, like I've talked about, the football IQ, it just drives me nuts. When you play a veteran, okay? The cliche is, well, the veteran's going to minimize the amount of horrific things that can happen on the field. And yet when I watch Jimmy, more times than not, I feel like he is not minimizing turnovers at all.
Right.
Like, he's one of the reasons why they put themselves in very disadvantageous situations on the field.
Yep.
And that's the biggest problem that I've gotten. I feel like we've assigned all of the veteran attributes to Jimmy, yet I'm not getting all of the veteran output that I'm looking for. Reducing turnovers, putting this team in drivable situations where they can throw down the field, minimizing sacks, all of the big-time net loss plays.
Making third down throws.
He didn't make any.
No, let's not. Let's get Baldy in the minute and a half. Let's get Vince for 30 seconds. Vince, you got about 30 seconds here before we get to Brian Baldinger. Vince, in the city, on his radio. What's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, so real quick, just wanted to say I think this is on Kyle because we had a chance to get Tom Brady, but his ego was too big to let someone else take over the offense. And just a kicker, I said last week that Jimmy G was the Andrew Wiggins, but he's playing more like Shane Falco. Thanks, guys.
Any problem, Vince? Good call there.
Replacements.
Good call there. Brian Baldinger joins us every single week at 7:30 here on the Morning Roast. He has some thoughts on the game in Denver Sunday night. One of the uglier Sunday night games we've seen in a long, long time. Broncos win 11-10. Niners dropped to 1-2. And it's a lot of doom and gloom this morning here in the Bay Area. Let's get to Baldy, Spadoni.
He breaks down plays better than anyone.
I mean, this is like Shark Week now. And you know what Baker Mayfield is? He's chum. Look at these sharks. You think you're getting away from those 4 angry sharks? It's Shark Week. It's time to eat. Make the read urgency. That's the name of the game right here. Urgency. Now, on it. He's on it. Touchdown. Beautiful throw.
He's our 95.7 The Game NFL insider, Brian Baldinger.
Baldy on the roast, looking dapper as ever. On Twitter, at Baldy NFL. We love talking. Look at the collar. Look at the blazer. He's ready to roll here. And look, Baldy does it down. I was loving his breakdowns of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was like, damn, look at the Jaguars flying around. Look at them play offensive football. They're running the ball, throwing the ball. But let's stick with the Niners here. And Baldy, right off the rip, I want to play a cut from what you said back when you first joined us for this football season back in mid-August. Here's what you had to say about the 49ers losing Mike McDaniel.
I could be wrong in this, so maybe I'm misspeaking, but I think he was the highest paid assistant coach in the NFL. Like, they didn't want to lose him. They never wanted to lose him. They didn't want to lose him in Atlanta. Like, he knew the value of Mike. Because he's like, look, it's Revenge of the Nerds with Mike. Because he's willing to put 15 hours in the film room to find one motion that's going to work on Sundays that's going to take Luke Kuechly out of the mix, and you're going to run right by him. Like, his ability to see how a defense reacts, anticipate how a defense is going to react, and then you counter that reaction. Like, he just had this skill that not a lot of people have.
So I want to ask you, Baldy, right off the rip, through 3 games, how much are the 49ers missing Mike McDaniel when the Dolphins are 3-0, Niners are 1-2, and they look very, very predictable on offense?
I agree. I mean, I thought they would miss him, and I think they are. It just looks very beige, this offense. You know, I mean, if you had to put a color to it, it's just flat. I think Mike McDaniels is a big loss because what Mike does, nobody's really willing to, even if you're willing to put the time in, you don't know really what you're looking at. He just has that skill. And I thought you can replace a running back coach. You can replace a run game coordinator. I mean, they get replaced all the time. But now somebody that is willing to do what Mike did. And so I thought it would show up. And look, you had one explosive run by Wilson. You're on your 3rd running back. We understand that. One explosive run. Otherwise, I mean, they were struggling to get 2 yards a carry. And so it has looked like that for much of the season so far.
You know, Baldy, it's just so many places that I want to start. Let's start with the play. You're at the 1 yard line, and I don't know if it's designated as a screen type of a play or not, but from the rip, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Now, Shanahan has run a play-action play with Trey Lance at quarterback in the preseason from his own end zone, and that's aggressive, and I know a lot of coaches would never do that. But from the rip, that play felt like it was doomed. Break down that play for us.
Well, it wasn't play action. I mean, you know, there's a couple things if you're going to do that type of play. I mean, there's 2 things that I wouldn't do if I was a coordinator. Now, obviously, Kyle's, he's the real guy. But, you don't run screens typically, and you don't run play action because any kind of an offensive penalty in the end zone is a safety. Mm-hmm. You don't have to, put your foot in the back of the back line. You have an offensive tackle that just grabs somebody who's getting beat, and it's a safety. Like, there's just too many danger points about a play like that. That's why most teams, like, they'll even quarterback sneak from the 1 just to get you some breathing room, just so that what happened doesn't happen. And so, Purcell, split him inside right there. He got pressure right up the middle. He was a hard guy to block for him all night as it was. So there wasn't great protection, but that's one of the things that you really fear. Your quarterback turns your back to the defense in that part of the field. You can't afford a mistake. And honestly, the safety was better than throwing the interception and the pick 6 that Bradley Chubb had. So it's like, pick your poison. Would you rather give up 6 points or give up, 2 points and then the ultimate field goal, a 5-point play for the most part?
Well, and so obviously we can.
And they lost Trent Williams on that play.
Well, that's where I want to go. Like, obviously we can rip the quarterback. He's got to know where he's at on the field. The coach, why are you calling that? You lose Trent Williams. That play felt like it changed the game completely. Obviously, the momentum of the safety, but then Jalen Moore comes in, and he can't guard nobody, and they're just searching right now. How big of a loss is the Trent Williams one? Because I just don't know how they're going to be able to operate.
Well, even if they're a left-handed team, they like to run to the left because Trent's there. Mm-hmm. And just because you just never know, like, how many different people he can eliminate on any given play just because of the style of play. But even when they cut back, even when they run to the right, I mean, Trent's ability to just take guys out of the picture on the backside opens up cutback lanes. So, and then, if you're down there on the goal line and you want to try something like that, at least if you have Trent, on a play, like you feel a little bit better about turning your back to the defense if he's kind of anchoring your left side. I mean, he's the highest graded offensive lineman in the league last year. Like there's no backup now. So Jalen Ward comes in and another play action pass, which I didn't agree with him out there, and Randy Gregory, their best pass rusher, beats him cleanly. So now you put McKivitz in there. Now you're on your third tackle. Like it's just I mean every step you just kind of. You just weakened the group up front that was already trying to find their feet and trying to come together as a group with 3 new starters in there right now.
Brian Baldy here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. Joins us every single Tuesday at 7:30, and we love Baldy because he breaks it down better than anybody out there. You talking about the decision-making of Kyle Shanahan, the play-action passes, and we've questioned the decision-making since he started with Trey Lance to start the season and some of the plays that he ran with Trey Lance. But I want to get to Jimmy Garoppolo because he is a veteran. And last week, Baldy, when he replaced Trey Lance after he suffered a broken ankle, Jimmy said after the game, it was like riding a bike. I felt comfortable. The players felt comfortable. Huddle felt comfortable. This week it was, not having training camp and OTAs and, I'm not really in game shape. We don't really want to hear that. But what about the decision-making of Jimmy Garoppolo as the quarterback for a veteran? I saw a guy look like a rookie out there on Sunday Night Football.
Well, I mean, when you can't convert a third down like they did until, I don't know, maybe the second to last drive, I mean, that's bad offense, period. Now, it was a bad offensive performance all night, but, it always falls on the quarterback. I mean, there's a reason why they're the highest paid people on the field. The quarterback has to make decisions. The offense has to move. You have to fix things. Like, even if the play isn't right, like, you've got to make it work. Your decision-making, your accuracy, what you do with the football in your hands is why we basically watch the game. I mean, if you get backup scrub quarterbacks, it's unwatchable football in this league. I mean, so you saw it last night to a degree, from the Giants. I mean, your quarterback running around scrambling isn't offense.
No.
Like, you might get first downs, but it's not offense. The offense, the quarterback's job is to get the ball to your wide receivers. They're the second highest paid players. They're playmakers. You got to get the ball to them. Like, even when it's 11-10 in the bottom of the ninth, with 2.5 minutes to go in the game, like, just go down. You're at midfield. It's first down. You can't throw the ball where he threw the ball in the middle of the field like that. Like, he knows that. Now, the left tackle, like, they couldn't pick up a Josie Jewell blitz to save their life all game long.
3 for 3. I saw your breakdown. 3 for 3.
Like, I mean, the guy struck gold on 3 basic blitzes. I mean, they just picked him apart. Like, you can't let that happen. So, but you can't throw the ball in the middle of the field. Like, throwing the ball in the middle of the field in the crowd is you get done exactly what happens. The ball gets picked. It could have been picked a couple more times. Like, every time, I mean, as a fan, you guys, and me too, you see a ball tipped in the middle of the field, the first thing you think of, here we go. Yeah. Bad play, interception. Like, almost always. So that's why some guys don't throw the ball in the middle of the field, unless they have a wide open target. Like, don't throw the ball outside the numbers, all that. They won't even try it because of all the different hands that are in the way sometimes.
Baldy, I'm watching Jimmy G the other night, and I'm saying, God, he just can't see the field. And it's like the decision-making. It's just... It's so erratic, and we do all these like winner attributes. He's a winner. He wins games. And like, to me, the thing that we always talk about, he's physically limited. What about his mental makeup? What about his decision-making on the field? For someone who's played as long as he has in this system, am I right to say, like, what is he thinking out there? How are they not getting the ball to some of these playmakers? Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, like, they got guys out there, and yet I feel consistently the defense is 2 steps ahead of him.
Well, I mean, you just go back to the last interception. I mean, that interception, like, I've seen, like, I was just in Tampa this weekend, Brady and Rodgers going at it. Okay, the ultimate decision makers. But I saw, like, that was the first down throw that Jimmy had intercepted at the 47-yard line. Like, I saw both Brady and Rodgers, when there wasn't something there, just throw the ball on the ground. Like, literally, I'll go to second down. I'll throw it into the seats. Like, I'm not forcing the ball. If that's the only place I got to go right now, I'll throw the ball into the ground, and I'll go to second down. And I felt like sometimes that's the best thing to do, is just throw the ball away and go to the next down. Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, this has been going on now for a while, not just this, since George came back this week. But, like, I just don't feel like they call his number and they have plays for George.
Yeah.
Like, what am I looking at, Joe? Like, I just don't see. I see these tight ends in the league.
Thank you,
Right.
Baldy.
I mean, it
Thank
starts
you,
with
Baldy.
Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Like I see these guys, and they're calling plays that everybody can watch. Clear outs, 3x1s, flex them, in motion, delay, tight end delays. Like I see these plays for tight ends around the league. Now, you made him the highest paid tight end for a day in the whole league. And I don't feel like they use him at all.
I'm totally with you, and it drives me kind of crazy, to be quite frank. I'd love to see him used more in the red zone, and just in general more. But, like, the big counter-argument is, he's such a great blocker, and, they don't have great protection, so you have to keep him in. And I'm like, I understand there's a balancing act here. He just doesn't get targeted enough for me. Like, they don't run specific plays to free him up because he is a mismatch nightmare.
When teams are in man coverage and you get them into man coverage, whether it's first down and they got the safety down to try to stop the run, whatever, and you're in man coverage, like you got to call plays for George. You just do. Like he's too good with the ball in his hands after the catch. I don't care if it's rub routes. I don't care if it's delays. I don't care if it's tight end screens. Like I just feel like even though he was active and healthy last week, I understand the injury, but like he seemed like he was just invisible.
Yeah.
But it's not just last week. I felt like that for much of the season last year. And really, since he set the receiving record for, yardage record by a tight end, I felt like they've kind of just gone away from him.
Yep.
And it's not because there's Ayuk and Debo.
Yeah.
Like they get their targets. Look, Patrick Surtain threw a blanket over, Ayuk. I mean, he's that good. All right. So if you know that, well, where's Kittle? All right, if Surtain can just basically blanket your ex receiver out there, then let's start calling some plays for Kittle. I just feel, and I know George's a team player to never say anything, but it seems like they're not taking advantage of a really good player.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got some numbers here for Kittle just on Sunday, Baldy. 51 to 56 snaps. 51 to 56 snaps. He lined up on the line of scrimmage next to a tackle 38 times. He was only in the slot 8 times, lined out wide 4 times, once in the backfield. That's not enough. You got to move him around here. I saw your breakdown with Kyle Pitts. He's in the slot, running wheel routes and mossing guys down the sideline. We want to see that from George Kittle. And then we want to see a little more from Debo. Shanahan talked about how teams are stuffing Debo in the run game. They look predictable, and they've got to make an adjustment. The cat's out the bag. The cat's out of the hat, right? Everybody knows when Debo is freaking in the backfield, it's a run play. How do they get more creative with getting number 19 the ball instead of just at the line of scrimmage on either smoke routes, wide receiver screens, or just straight up handoffs?
Well, it would help if they could keep running backs healthy. So, Mason gets a carry, goes 7 yards. I just think you got to get some healthy running backs so you're not putting him in that position where he is so predictable. And it can kind of change up. Put him back there, but still throw the ball. Have different formations with him and a running back in the backfield. Him and Juice in the backfield. Various combinations where it's not so predictable. And then they just got to do a better job blocking up front. But you're right. If I'm defending the 49ers and I see Debo back there, I got every alert in the world going. The ball's going to 19. I got it. All right, we're going to treat him like a running back. We're going to, we'll be in our gaps. We'll be gap sound, and we're not going to let him get these splits and hits that we saw him get through the second half of the season last year.
I want to ask you about the defense, Baldy, because they are playing lights out, and we should be spending more time talking about Hufanga, Fred Warner Jr., Drake Greenlaw, this defensive line.
Jackson's first sack.
His first sack. Kinlaw's playing well. Givens playing well. Bosa's Bosa. The 2 corners on the outside, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want D'Amico Ryans leaving after the season because he's got these guys humming, Baldy.
They're as good as anybody in this league, and I just saw Tampa. They're awesome. Green Bay is very good. Philadelphia's playing lights out, good defense, right? There's a lot of teams that are playing. The defense is way ahead of the offenses in this whole league right now. But the 49ers, when I watch them, I don't think there's a faster defense in the league. Their speed at linebacker is second to none. There might be a faster linebacker than Fred Warner, but nobody reads a play faster than Fred. You watch them on the defensive line right now, they are chasing everything down. They are so good. They've given up 1 touchdown in 2 weeks right now. And really, the only time that they have really gotten beat, and it started in Chicago, is when they go up against a quarterback like Fields or Russell, where they hold the ball for 5 or 6 seconds, and they kind of take a nap. when the guy's just kind of running around out there. That's how that receiver, what was the kid's name?
Hinton, I think.
Yeah. Number 9.
Yeah.
That kid Hinton, like Emmanuel Mosley kind of went to sleep a little bit. Russell's out there running around, and they got a 27-yard play on that drive that they end up scoring on. That's how Dante Pettis scored against Chicago. Like, the only time they have broken down is when these quarterbacks extend the play for a long time. And then they kind of blink. They don't plaster the receivers. And that's how these plays have happened. Other than that, and it's happened 3 or 4 times this year, other than that, they're as good as anybody in this league.
Baldy, on your way out the door, what's the identity of this offense? Like this year, if you were just looking at it through 3 games, like, because I know we want to run the ball. I feel like they got a couple of chunk plays and then a whole lot of nothing. Like, what's the identity of this offense right now?
I think the identity of the offense is their defense, just giving them good field position and getting the ball back to them. Wow. I mean, you think about this. Just on 12, they had like 15 possessions. But on 12 possessions on Sunday night, they had a first down or less. 1 or fewer first downs on 12 possessions.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So if you ask it, what's the identity? The identity is, you fumble the ball at midfield on a quarterback center exchange, the most basic play in football, and the defense gets you the ball back in 3 plays. Like, their identity right now is their defense. If the defense takes the ball away, forces a punt, like they've been doing for 3 straight games in a row, that's when the offense is basically feasting. Other than that, I can't give it to you, Joe.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Real quick, Baldy, before we get you out of here, Monday Night Football, Rams-Niners, rematch of the NFC Championship game. People have kind of fallen asleep on the Rams after they got blown out by Buffalo in the season opener. Got back-to-back wins. Held on for dear life against Atlanta. Atlanta's a sneaky team. And then, of course, beating the Cardinals down in Glendale, Arizona. Where are the Rams at right now? How are they looking to you over the last 2 weeks?
They got flaws. I mean, they're not great right now. But they went through a dip in the middle of the season last year where they didn't get a win for a month. They lost 3 games, had a bye week. They didn't win a game in a month. And they came out of it. But the one thing I think you can count on, and this is just who he is, like, Stafford's going to give you 2. Now, they had the ball on the ground all day the other day. They couldn't recover a fumble. Like, the ball's just dribbling in front of them. They couldn't get it. There are going to be opportunities for loose balls and interceptions, and they have to be they have to take advantage of it. It's like watching the Warriors play basketball. Like, if there's a loose ball, the Warriors get the ball. Like, that's what they do. Like, it's more than just Steph hitting threes. It's more than fast breaks. The ball's on the ground. The Warriors get the ball. And if I was the 49ers and I was coaching that team, I would show them Golden State Warrior clips of them getting every single loose ball and keeping balls alive. Like, because it's the same thing. The ball's on the ground, it's your ball. Like, get it. Recover it. Like, and so Stafford's going to give you 2. You've got to catch it. And so that's how the game is going to flip, and that's how they win the game.
Baldy, I'm now envisioning you, me, and Bonte courtside with Bob Myers going to a Warrior game when the NFL season is over, and I want Baldy to do some Baldy breakdowns on Draymond Green's pregame routine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll do that. And I'll break down every single shot in pregame from Steph because I've been watching it now for a decade.
Oh, man.
Like, nobody takes as many shots in a pregame than Steph Curry does.
Oh, man.
From every angle. I've seen him off the court.
Yes.
Hitting balls from behind the backboard.
Yeah.
Oh, he's unreal. And the champs are back. They had beat it on Sunday. We got to make that happen.
Make that happen.
Champs are back
Make
on
it happen,
Sunday.
Joe.
Let's do it.
I'll make the special trip.
I know.
I'd do that in a second.
House of Prime Rib.
I love to ask you, Baldy, because I knew you were in Tallahassee. See him on Nose last week. Snuff out Boston College. You were in Tampa Bay. Where are you at this weekend? Where's the double dip happening?
I'm right in Vegas this weekend. Denver and the Raiders desperate. If they go to 0-4, I mean, just bury them. Just put them in. Just put them in the crypt. So they're trying to dig themselves out. Max Crosby and company. The quarterback's got to get a little tougher in the pocket, man. He's just got to stay in there.
No doubt. That's a big one.
Good.
Our technical producer, Joe Spinotti's a big Raider fan. He's depressed right now.
He's ready to
fire everybody. He's ready to fire everybody, Baldy.
I understand. The relationship between Carr and Josh isn't off to a great start right now.
No doubt. Baldy, you're the best, man. We always love your breakdowns. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
Have a good one.
See you, man.
All right, Baldy. Brian Baldinger here on the Morning Roast, and there's so many things we can react to
what was the
from
biggest
that clip.
for you?
Quarterback decision-making, no doubt.
He seemed so flabbergasted by how bad some of the decisions.
But he also said the offense, he said if you had to name it a color, it'd be beige. It's flat. It's nothing.
So when you
It's
see all
stale.
the all-22 film that goes out and everyone's like, this guy's open and that guy's open, and like I don't even know, because I think it's so easy for me to sit and go, that guy's open, throw it to him. It's a lot harder to actually see that guy.
Right.
Is he the primary? Is he the secondary? Do I have time to step into my throw? Can I make that throw in that angle and dipping it over a lineman? But like when he was just talking about George Kittle in particular, we have talked about George Kittle in the Bay Area. George Kittle stands at a podium. He's wearing his little glasses and everything. He's doing his little thing. It gets 50,000 views from every single one of the beat writers.
Yep.
And we target this guy 3 times, 4 times in a game, and that's it?
I've been saying this
He's
for
a glorified right tackle.
But this is why I've been saying this for a long time. It's like, you look at the way Kelsey's used. Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert in Philadelphia.
I mean, Goddard, yes. I mean even
he's
Schultz for the Cowboys when he's healthy.
When he's healthy. The way they use him. Even the Rams tight end. Who's the backup in the NFC Championship
Everett,
game?
And now they got the Higbee.
Yeah, but it was somebody else because Higbee got hurt. And they used the other guy, and he had like 7 targets.
Yeah, he killed
I'm
us
like,
on
damn,
the
can
screens.
Kittle? Like, they go to Kittle once in the NFC Championship, and I know he scored a touchdown in the third quarter to make it 17-7, and then it feels like they just stopped going to him.
Yeah.
They stopped going. Like, at some point, I'm almost going to go look at the players and say, Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, you need to go up to Shanahan and say, hey, give me the freaking ball. It's go time. Like, remember Debo in the wild card game? After they got the, the interception, K.Y. Williams, the interception against Dak Prescott, and Debo said, Kyle, get me the damn ball. And Kyle gave him the ball, and he scores a touchdown to give him a commanding lead, which they held on. It's almost like Kittle needs to be, hey, let's go. I need a touch.
Yes, and it's easy for us to throw the ball around, but like the quarterback turns it over and is such a bad decision maker.
But you know what?
They're going to turn it over. But
then what are you going to do then? Then go find a new quarterback. Are you ready to go see Brock Purdy? If Jimmy Garoppolo can't get it done, then find somebody to get it done. That's why I'm losing my mind right now, and I'm about to lose it again, like yesterday. We keep talking about Jimmy, and I get who Jimmy is. But damn it, Jimmy is here because of Shanahan. For 3 years, we've been saying, go get your guy. And he finally moves up to number 3 to go get Trey Lance, and we see Trey Lance, he's already done. He's already done. Jimmy's still here. That's on Shanahan. Shanahan has to take accountability for this. Like, I'm tired of yes, we know who Jimmy is. He couldn't even fire Garoppolo. They botched the entire offseason by bringing number 10 back.
But I think where I get frustrated is that I see other quarterbacks get slightly better, even the ones that aren't very good. Even Flacco's having moments this year. Flacco, Cooper Rush won last night. Now I think their team is
Giants
better
are a little
than the Giants.
overrated.
No, I agree, but it's like I feel like I'm not seeing any progress in the right direction. It's like the same dude, and I don't think he's as bad as what we saw on Monday or Sunday night. Excuse me, but how much better can it get?
Again, Baldy just said it. This offense looks stale. That's on the head coach.
Well,
that's on the play caller, Shasky.
The one big takeaway that I've had that I'm at the point of now, I am sick of doing the roulette at running back situation. They have got to find a guy to play running back, and they have to find someone who can take 20 carries a game,
I'm glad
who
you're
can
there.
withstand this. If you're going to be a bell cow offense that's going to slam the ball down people's throat, get a damn bell cow.
Screw this. This is what I've been saying for years.
And I'm not saying you got to pay him.
Yeah, I've been saying this for years, and I know Mark Willard's going to.
Find the guy.
I know what Mark Willard's going to say about the running back stuff. I already know it.
Yeah, but they don't have a 1,000-yard back.
This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying for a couple years now about that. I'm watching Saquon Barkley yesterday. When Saquon goes out and run a route, do you have to account for him?
Oh, of course.
When Saquon's lined up in the backfield, do you have to account for him?
You're marking him up no matter where he is on the field. It's the Marshall Faulk.
How many defenses fear Jeff Wilson Jr. coming out of the backfield?
Not many.
And I'm not trying to disrespect Jeff Wilson Jr.
He's a solid
fine
number 3
player.
or 4.
But teams are like Jeff Wilson Jr., yeah, we'll stick our linebacker on him. If Saquon's out there, Saquon's running the route, teams are saying, I need a safety. I need a hybrid linebacker /safety. I need Derwin James on Saquon Barkley. We cannot let this guy beat us.
Kamara, same thing.
You put all the running backs on the wall right now. And we could do a little fantasy football here. Yeah. Where's Jeff Wilson Jr. going?
Oh, he's in like the 40s or 50s. I'm just being real.
So I've been yelling to the high, get a threat in the backfield. Somebody who can do multiple things.
I mean, I'm taking 2 Lion running backs before I take 1 Niner one.
Look pretty damn good. Jamal Williams is Swift.
Yeah.
Look pretty damn good. Even the third stringer looks good.
Listen to what I just said.
I know. You'll take them. All right. You know what time it is, Spadoni.
It's time for the injury report. It really hurts. Brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years.
All right. The 49ers lost another starter to injury this week. We know that Trent Williams, he's out 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. But linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair suffered a sprained MCL in his right knee Sunday night. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said the injury could keep Al-Shaair out for about 8 weeks. The 49ers also announced again, Trent Williams, he's out anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how quickly the swelling subsides. Neither injury is expected to require surgery. Thank the heavens for that. But the Niners without their left tackle and one of their linebackers, that is a problem for the Niners. Moving forward, the injury report brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. What's coming up? Your phone calls, 888-957-9570, plus Mike Holmgren at 8:30 to talk about the performance of Jimmy Garoppolo and the performance of the head coach, Kyle Shanahan. That's coming up at 8:30, but your call's next, 888-957-9570. That's sponsored by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking, no compromises.
Listening to the morning roast is easier than ever.
Show me the play from yesterday's game that you haven't seen from this team over the last 6 years. I saw the same crap, not one clever play. Not one clever play. I'm so done. This guy's such an offensive genius. This quarterback. No, because I've been doing it to myself. I love this team, and they let me down my whole life. I set myself up to lose my mind. And yeah, there's a whole season. I know how this ends. This ends with this team breaking my heart at the end of the year.
Just go to Twitch or YouTube and search 957 The Game.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Cars for Kids, K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids, K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids, K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Elise and Carl's bakery needed a small business loan fast, but instead of going to On Deck, Carl called
Lone Falcon!
Really? Carl?
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com. And if approved, get your loan as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah Chartered Industrial Bank member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
Have you considered walking through another door? I don't mean to pursue another opportunity, but upgrading a door in your home. Now, if you are in fact looking for another opportunity, Golden State Window and Door can provide you with plenty. You can create renewed function and design for use indoors and out. You'll find modern options like Marvin's Elevate In-Swing French Door, Barn Doors by Trustyle, or Anderson Big Doors that welcome in natural light. Golden State Window and Door features a variety of materials, sizes, and glass options. You can get inspired by the many possibilities when you visit GoldenStateLumber.com. Click on virtual tours and you'll discover beautifully planned displays of doors and windows of all kinds that will spark your imagination. Then, talk with our builder or designer to see what might be a good fit for your home. Serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Hey guys, Mike Valeni for Cash the Ticket podcast. If you like sports betting or if you just like sports, it's the podcast for you. We try to cover all the big games and maybe some of the games you didn't even know were important, give you some angles, pick some winners, have a good time, and hopefully help you meander through college and pro football season. So join us a couple times a week to get all your information you need to bet the games that you watch. It's Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 10/1. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
Hurry into the Energy Savings Event at Lowe's. Save energy and save money on select major appliances, including Whirlpool energy-efficient appliances. You can also save with a smart thermostat. Right now, select Google Nest Learning thermostats are $60 off. Plus, find other great energy-saving items throughout the store and check your eligibility for rebates in your area to save even more. Don't miss the Energy Savings Event at Lowe's. Selection varies by location. Exclusions apply. Visit Lowe's.com for details. Valid through 9/28.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's time to wake up with a nice cup of morning roast.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring Bonte Hill and Joe Shesky.
Hey, well, I'm about that action, boss.
Take it out! This is the morning roast on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, baby, been a fun morning. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go before the changeover with Willard and Dibbs. Here on a Tuesday. Good morning, everybody out there on YouTube, Twitch, and, of course, the Comcast Business text line. Good morning, everybody. They're getting off their graveyard shifts. The truck drivers out there doing the damn thing. Everybody at work. If you're at work, what is up? If you're getting ready for work, good morning to you as well. Spadoni Lubman and you, Joe Shasky III. We just had Brian Baldinger on. We'll play some of those highlights. And today's show has been focused a lot on Kyle Shanahan coming off that loss to the Denver Broncos. A lot of bad decision-making, right? The decision to run whatever the hell they tried to run on the goal line, which resulted into a safety that could have been a pick six that lost Trent Williams. The decision to decline the penalty and allow Denver to kick a 55-yard field goal where points was going to come at a premium. Why not accept the penalty, push the Broncos back, maybe a chance at who knows what happens there. But the Broncos get 3 points there. They end up winning 11-10. Decision-making in critical situations, when to go for it, when not to go for it. It's been the trend under Kyle Shanahan, and the numbers do not look good there. So we'll continue that conversation. Plus, Mike Holmgren at 8:30 coming up on the roast. But your phone calls next, 888-957-9570. What's your biggest takeaway from Brian Baldinger?
Well, it's how they're utilizing Kittle. And you and I did a video last year where I said, you got to target this guy. I mean, I think it was our Xfinity Flex in the middle of the season last year. You got to target this guy 5 times a half. I don't think that is egregious.
No, it's not.
When you have great playmakers, I'll go back in time. When you look at the TO 49ers, okay, when TO was on the team, and
Rice was gone.
Yeah, Rice was gone. And he was said to Greg Knapp, who was the offensive coordinator at that time, I should be getting 15 looks a game. I'm the best player on this team. And I agree with him for a variety of reasons. Number one, you put the ball in the best player's hands because they give you the best chance to win. Number two, you don't have a lot of other playmakers outside of him. And number three, it puts pressure on the other team to guard that guy, tackle that guy, find out where that guy is at all times. When you have Marshall Faulk, for example, you are trying to get Marshall Faulk the ball 20 to 25 times in a variety of ways. Okay? When you have Devontae Adams and you're Aaron Rodgers before he went to the Raiders, you're trying to get that guy the ball a dozen times a game. Kelsey, you watch Kelsey? How many times is he trying to get the ball?
He's getting the ball a lot. A lot of targets.
When Tony Gonzalez was the tight end for Kansas City.
But even when those guys aren't getting targets, they're attracting so much attention that it's opening up the game for, say, McCole Hardman.
Exactly.
Juju Smith-Schuster, who's number 84 on the Kansas City Chiefs. He's getting targets.
Whether you're being utilized or being used as a decoy, like you bring value to the field because you're accounting for the team having to guard you. And then when the ball's in your hands, you're a stud for a reason.
Right. You make plays happen. You could turn a 10-yard hitch into a 70-yard touchdown. That's how special George Kittle is. He can break tackles and make things happen.
I know everyone says, we're so vital to the run game. I hear you. But there's a reason backup tight ends exist, to maul in the run game. These guys that are pass-catching tight ends, can that, being an inline blocker be a part of their repertoire? Of course. Do you know why Antonio Gates is going to the Hall of Fame?
For catching passes.
Do you know why Kelsey's going to the Hall of Fame?
For catching passes.
Now, the extra stuff is great. It's gravy. I love it. It sets the tone. It's all those things. But I'm paying this guy $12 million, $15 million a year, whatever it is after the bonuses and whatnot, to catch the ball down the field and be a dynamic playmaker who teams can't guard. And it makes it easier for my quarterback.
Now, I will say it's only one game, and it's his first game back. Let's see how he gets used.
There are stretches over the last few years.
There are. Well, I look at last season, and I think I went crazy one week. I went crazy. I was like, get George Kittle. I was yelling, screaming at the top of my lungs because I wanted to see him get the ball. But then he had that stretch against Seattle where he goes for 9 for 181. He has a big game against Cincinnati. Remember that? He has a big catch in overtime. He has a big catch in the fourth quarter. George Kittle was all over the place. But I look at him in these games and the targets. Those are outliers, right? Look at the targets, all right? George Kittle against Seattle back on December 5th, 12 targets. The next week against Cincinnati, 15 targets. Then after that, he gets 6 against Atlanta. 3 against Tennessee. 3 against Tennessee on the Christmas Eve game. 2 against the Texans. 7 against the Rams. And then you get in the playoffs. Get to the playoffs. 3 targets against Dallas. 6 targets against Green Bay. 5 targets against the Rams. 5 targets. I need more. I need 10 a game.
I know.
But now, again, they're not throwing the ball like that. So where's Debo at? Where's Ayuk at? Those guys aren't getting targets. Tawad Jennings has probably got more targets than without even looking at the stats. Tawad Jennings probably has more targets than Brandon Ayuk so far this season. That's criminal.
Well, and I look at it this way, like, you don't always, like you're saying, you don't always have to get the ball on the target. So, like, the year that Randy Moss came to the Niners, 2012, Michael Crabtree had his best year. Vernon Davis also had a monster year that year, and so did Frank Gore. So if you say to me, hey, Joe, Randy's only going to catch 38 passes or whatever it was. I think it was 35 passes that year. But all these other guys are going to flourish. I'm like, all right, that works. That works for me, But I'm looking at this offense. Who's flourishing right now on the offense, B?
Nobody.
So if you're not going to target George Kittle and you're going to be impotent on offense, well, now I've got a problem.
So Deebo Samuel so far 21 targets. How many of those have come at the line of scrimmage?
Lots.
Brandon Ayuk actually has 19 targets now, which is surprising to me.
And why does it feel like it's not enough?
Yeah, 10 catches, 142 yards.
It feels like that's more of a byproduct of this offense being so run-based heavy.
Danny Gray, 2 targets. Tyler Kroft, 2 targets. George Kittle to 5 targets. Ray-Ray McLeod, 5 targets. Kyle Juszczyk, 4 targets. And, of course, Jawan Jennings with 11 targets. Maybe that's on the quarterback. Maybe it's on the play calling.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Let's go to Ray in Vallejo. Ray in Vallejo watching us via YouTube. What's up, Ray? How you doing? You're on the roast.
How about them Cowboys?
Good for you.
That's all you got?
Come on.
You guys lost to us.
No. Hey, guys, just curious, man. I'm just curious. You guys are in a tough spot. We were in a tough spot. But what would you give up for Cooper Rush?
Not much.
Great job letting that go.
I just don't even know the point. Now you're excited about Cooper Rush. Okay. Guru is excited about Cooper Rush.
Is he?
That call is dedicated to Guru, by the way.
Okay. That's a good call. So we got a couple things here with Baldy. One, we got the offense looking beige. But here's what Baldy said about George Kittle needing more targets.
We are on fire.
I just don't feel like they call his number and they have plays for George.
Yeah.
Like, what am I looking at, Joe? Like, I just don't see. I see these tight ends in the league.
Thank you,
Right.
Baldy.
I mean, it starts with
Baldy.
Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Like, I see these guys, and they're calling plays that everybody can watch. Clear outs, 3x1s, flex them, in motion, delay, tight end delays. Like, I see these plays for tight ends around the league. Now, you made him the highest paid tight end for a day in the whole league. And I don't feel like they use him at all.
So when we think about not using him at all, he was on the field, again, for 51 snaps. 51 of the 56 snaps, Kittle was on the field. 38 of those snaps, he was next to a tackle. Lined up in line, blocking. Or running the routes, right? But think about that. 38 times, you know where he's at, okay? He's right next to the tackle, whether it's the left tackle or the right tackle. One time he lines up in the backfield. 8 times he's in the slot. 4 times he's out wide. Now, on the 33 pass attempts, Kittle ran 27 routes. 6 of the times he stayed in the block. Part of the problem on the Super Bowl, though, we were like, man, Kittle's in a lot to block.
Yeah.
Because the offensive line hasn't gotten better. That's where it goes back to Shanahan, who has power to pick the players, to figure out who he wants. Why isn't the offensive line better? I've been yelling about the offensive line. Part of the reason why Kittle has to stay in the block, some of the reason why you get the ball out so damn fast, where everybody salivates over Jimmy Garoppolo, this quick release. Oh, he's getting the ball out so quick where you're not letting plays develop. Part of the problem with the quick release is you're not allowing guys to get downfield and run their routes. But part of the problem why you don't do that is because the offensive line stinks. And you don't upgrade the offensive line. And that's where I go back to Kyle Shanahan saying, you knew going into the season you were starting Trey Lance. Then you sign Jimmy Garoppolo and say, boy, we got Garoppolo as a backup, but you look at the protection up front, and the protection up front is not good. So that all falls on Kyle Shanahan. Targets for Kittle, play design, running plays, decision-making. It all falls back on the head coach.
Well,
it's a trend of him making bad decisions over the years. It's a trend.
It goes back to the personnel, right? I mean, and they've overrated certain players throughout their time, and it feels like McGlinchey's one of those guys that they've overrated. They underrated Laken Tomlinson's value. I think that's easy to say.
Yep.
They went up and they got Aaron Banks in the second round, to be determined. And then at the center position, they tried to overpay for Weston Richburg in free agency. I hated that move the day it happened. It didn't really materialize into anything because he was hurt the entire time. They got Alex Mack for 1 year, and they had no long-term solution. And now you got Jake Brendel in there, and I've asked this since day one. I went and saw him the first practice we went to. I said to Sam Lubman, and Sam, for 1 second, Sam, what was my first observation on Jake Brendel? The first time I saw him when we looked up at, and we were watching him in the drills.
Well, no, you and me, we both had the same reaction. It was just like, this guy is so much smaller than everyone else on the offensive line.
I was like, oh my God, center's a problem.
So it looked like they
just looking on the field.
But doesn't that look bad on the front office in Kyle Shanahan?
Of course.
Alex Mack, we had no idea who was going to retire. You don't draft a center in the draft. You don't go out there and acquire a center. You don't draft a center. Instead, your solution is, let's let Jake Brendel run it. And then you get a fumble snap in Denver, and you have a turnover.
Back-to-back. Remember, they fumbled on the goal line against Seattle as well.
Back-to-back weeks. So a trend under Kyle Shanahan, if you take away 2019, it'd be 20th, 32nd, 30th, 22nd, and so far 19th when it comes to takeaways, giveaways. You're the bottom half of the league. Bottom half of the league when it comes to takeaways and giveaways. That's a trend.
I know.
And it looks like it's going to be going the opposite direction again this season when it comes to interceptions and fumbles. Like it's a trend under Kyle Shanahan. Penalties, points per game. You're in the bottom half of the league under Kyle Shanahan.
Well, I just look at like how they've allocated their resources, right? So the money that you pay people, and I get positions are valued differently, but I look at like how much money have they invested into center? How much money have they invested into guard, right and left? How much money have they invested into the running back position? And it feels like it's a constant evolving, a revolving door at all three of those or all four of those positions, doesn't it?
Yep.
And yet the entirety of this offense is based on running the ball and controlling the line of scrimmage. And yet I feel like we've been they've been underwhelming on the offensive line and pass protection. And running back.
Yep, and running back. Let's go to Baldy here on the offense, looking flat without Mike McDaniel.
I mean, I thought they would miss him, and I think they are. It just looks very beige, this offense. You know, I mean, if you've had to put a color to it, it's just flat. I think Mike McDaniels is a big loss because what Mike does, nobody's really willing to, even if you're willing to put the time in, you don't know really what you're looking at. He just has that skill. And I thought you can replace a running back coach. You can replace a run game coordinator. I mean, they get replaced all the time. But now somebody that is willing to do what Mike did. And so I thought it would show up. And look, you had one explosive run by Wilson. You're on your third running back. We understand that. One explosive run. Otherwise, I mean, they were struggling to get 2 yards a carry. And so it has looked like that for much of the season so far.
There's a lot of changes to the coaching staff this offseason. A lot of coaching changes. And that one is the one everybody's pointing to saying, boy, it'd be nice to have Mike McDaniel here. Dolphins are 3-0. Niners are 1-2. And they look beige on offense, according to Brian Baldinger.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me in terms of the offense and my frustration is how are they going to, moving forward, how are they going to open up Debo in the passing game?
With no Trent Williams.
Just in general, it feels like they haven't been able to get him the ball down the field. Nope. Now, there was one play, Jimmy found him
last week. It was good. Nice little dig route, right?
It was a really nice play, and he settled down, and he got wide open. It just feels like him in the passing game is an afterthought, and I don't know how you open that up.
Is the passing game ever going to evolve under Kyle Shanahan?
Well, I want to see some, trips, bunch formations off to the right or the left.
We don't see 3-by-1.
But the reason why I like that formation is because it automatically gives a free release to somebody, and you're going to get an open route. It's a concept that Andy Reid uses a lot. 3 guys, whether it's a tight end and a couple of wide receivers, all kind of together. Sometimes one guy's lined up behind the other, and you can't get your hands on them as a DB.
Well, Jacksonville ran a lot of 3-by-1 formations, and when I mean 3-by-1, trips right, trips left, receiver off to the other side. You got 3 on one side. I love that formation. It's a great formation.
But it's just an easy way to...
Yeah, Jacksonville ran it all day long against the Chargers.
Well, the Rams do it too.
The Rams do it a lot. They do it a lot under McVay. It's how Cooper Kupp gets open. You get the pick plays. You get a guy going to the flat. You can do so many things out of the trips formation. They look very bland and predictable. And then when I look at pass attempts per game, now a lot of things is Niners are blowing guys out, right, and they're running the football.
Well, they want to get to 30-plus rushes.
Want to get to 30-plus rushes.
That's their goal.
They've been in a lot of tight games. And you look at their pass attempts per game. They're at the bottom of the league. Bottom of the league all the time. 29th last year, 16th the year before, 29th in 2019, 20th in 2018. Why do they have to be hell-bent on having 30 rushes per game when you don't have that guy at running back?
But that's his philosophy. That's Shanahan's philosophy. And,
is his philosophy outdated?
I always like zigging when everyone's zagging. The whole league is throwing the ball. I truly believe McVay doesn't run it enough. That's my opinion. But I feel like they do overcorrect in terms of their stubbornness in the run game. You can be an aggressive run caller. Harbaugh talked about this when he was the coach. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, spreading it out and then running it, up the gut.
Right.
You can be aggressive with the run game. It feels like to me they're very stubborn with the run game. When it's not going anywhere and you got a guy going east and west and they should be getting north and south.
Let's get to the calls before we get to Mike Holmgren. Dave at Fresno, what's happening? You're on the morning roast via the Odyssey app. He's listening via the Odyssey app. What's up, Dave?
Every morning, I'm on that Odyssey app.
Thank you.
Listen to you guys. Give us to us raw, you know what I'm saying? So, no, I was just going to say, it's just funny listening to everybody, talking about Jimmy and, this is Jimmy. And I've been saying for years, I've been telling my friends, I've been calling this radio station, not necessarily this show, but even after losses, hey, this is Jimmy. And the difference is they're not winning because before they were winning and this kind of play was acceptable. And he's been this way this whole time. And you guys make great points about Kyle Shanahan, the personnel. I've been saying that as well. You've been drafting running backs in the 3rd round for every year he's been here and then nothing to show for it. Where you could have been investing in the offensive line, the center, some of these positions that they just be overlooking and and missing, and to have the success that they have in this short time, the NFC Championship, the Super Bowl, despite all this personnel miss and not finding the running back and not finding the groove, I find quite amazing. But, he's a 500 coach. He should be under the gun. Jimmy's under the gun. They're going to be looking at him. So right now it's not looking good, but you guys are hitting all the points.
Yeah, no doubt.
The overall record of the head coach, to me, lacks
context.
Yeah.
Because the first year you throw it away.
I mean, that was a 10-loss team, even if Bill Walsh came and I put Joe Montana at quarterback. That was like a 10-loss team. And you can say, Joe, they were in a lot of games. That team had not one building block moving forward. We didn't know DeForest Buckner would beat DeForest Buckner. Jimmy Ward didn't have a position. Eric Armstead didn't have a position. And those guys evolved under this regime.
They lost 5 straight games by 3 points or less that year.
I mean, it was bad, dude. That team was horrible.
All right, 2018, you lose the quarterback in week 3.
Yeah, I don't know how many teams are going to have a winning record when they do that.
They're 4-12. So then you get 13-3, then you get 6-10, and then last year 10-7. Last year 10-7, which looks great when you consider they started 3-5.
Would you be surprised that Jimmy Garoppolo had just a bounce back performance this week? Because we've been lamenting about how bad he was in this game. I mean, do you expect a good Jimmy game?
I don't know what to expect. Shasky, that's where I'm at, which is why I'm watching. I do not know what to expect from the 49ers offensively moving forward. I don't know what to expect. Are they going to protect Jimmy Garoppolo? Is he going to throw the no throws? Is all of a sudden he's going to find Ayuk down the field? All of a sudden is he going to hit Danny Gray for 40 yards?
That would require Danny Gray to line up.
I don't know what to expect from this offense. Is that fair? I don't know what to expect.
I don't know. When I saw there's a video circulating across the internet right now, did you see this?
About Jimmy Garoppolo complaining about the play calls?
Yeah, coming off the field.
Yeah, saying, I don't like these play calls.
Yeah, in essence. What do you think of that when you saw that video?
Say, Jimmy, you got to hit some throws. but at the same time, I'm with them. Sometimes I don't like the play calls with Shanahan. I don't like the decision to throw the ball on first down at the 47-yard line with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left when you had control of the football game. What are you in a rush for? Decision-making. Bad decision-making.
We were just talking about how few times that they throw the ball, and that's a situation that they throw it. But I think that's where we talk about context, and that's where I get frustrated with Shanahan. It does feel like in certain game situations,
he rushes for no reason.
Or becomes really, 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 really scared. Right. You know what I mean? And it's
when I think of great offensive coordinators, I think of them as killers, guys who
the
go
sense
for the
of the
throat.
Moment.
Holmgren, he's going for the throat.
Think about Andy Reid when Patrick Mahomes went down in that playoff game and they went for it with Chad Henne.
He's going for the throat.
Think about what he did on that 4th down play where he brought up that old school Yale play against the 49ers in the first half when they were dead in the water.
Going for the throat.
Yeah.
Great offensive coordinator. Phil Walsh is going for the throat.
Your boy Sean Payton going with an onside kick.
Going for the throat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? North Turner, when he was a Cowboys offensive coordinator, he was going to Alvin Harper deep down the field for deep post saying, I'm going for the jugular. I'm ending this now. That's what we think. Sean McVay going for it. Zach Taylor going for it on the first drive of the Super Bowl. Said, the hell with this. I'm going all in. It's all that effort mode stuff. You know what? I'm going full YOLO as an offensive coordinator, and we're doing whatever we got to do to put up points on the board. And Shanahan, for being all this offense, we give him credit for being the offensive guru and genius and all. We're not calling him that now because it doesn't look like that, but he coaches scared at times. Coaches conservative. And maybe it's because of the quarterback.
Well, it feels like it is.
But you know
I
what?
think that's where, as a Niner fan, I'm just so tired of watching mediocre quarterback play.
Well, that's the thing.
God, it's just so bad. It feels like we did a deal with the devil and we got Montana and Joe. And even I would long for Jeff Garcia at this point. I am so tired of watching mediocre quarterback play. I would, honest to God, I mean this sincerely. For years, it was defense. I love a good defense again. I know a lot of people do. Man, I miss the days when our quarterback would throw us to wins. I want to see, screw the defense at this point. If you told me, and I love defenses, and defenses win championships, all that stuff. Can I just get one full season? You know what? Who cares about our defense? I want to be in a bunch of shootouts. I want to be in 40 to 35 games every week. Let me ask you this.
Well, that's selfish because I just want to win games. I don't care about winning 17-13.
I'm exhausted by watching mediocre quarterback play.
Let me ask you this.
Exhausted by it.
Let me ask you this. Who's more boring? The 2022 San Francisco Giants or the 49ers offense from the past 2 seasons?
Well, the 49er offense is always going to be more exciting in the sense that I'm ready to rip my hair out or go,
they are boring.
Nice.
They are boring, Shasky. This offense is remedial. It is boring. Let's get to Scott real quick in Livermore. Scott.
Hi, Scott.
You're on the Morning Roast here on 95.7 The Game. He's listening, by the way, on the Park Radio.
Guys?
What's up, Scott?
What was that? What's happening? Man, all right. I got like 6,000 points, but I'll try to do it in like 30 seconds.
Okay.
One, like we talked all off season about the marriage between Jimmy and the divorce and Trey Lance, right? And then all of a sudden, Jimmy had nowhere to go, so we were like, hey, you can sleep on the couch still. And then all of a sudden, Kyle's dipping back into the sauce and getting Jimmy pregnant, and now he's got to do the right thing because Trey Lance is no longer available. It's just the situation is killing me. Second of all, Jimmy sucks. He always sucks. If you watch the tape, he is throwing the ball not his stride. He's throwing it behind. We had Debo wide open, and Debo had to stop to catch the ball.
I know.
We had Debo open on another route. He didn't even look his way. His awareness was horrible. Stepping outside on that safety, and then coming into the press conference, he's like, we played sloppy. We had no rhythm. We couldn't do anything. It's like, no, dude, you played sloppy. You had no rhythm. You created a fumble. You threw an interception that didn't even deserve to be thrown. You stepped out of bounds. And then he says, well, it's my first week out here with these guys. I almost lost it. I was like, you've been playing with these same three playmakers, all these playmakers, for 3 seasons.
No doubt.
It's Kirk Cousins in disguise. I hate it. Kyle Shanahan is living in his dad's shadow, and that's why he went out to go get Trey Lance to try and get out from that shadow. Now he can't. He's been losing for so long. He's no longer trying to win
All right,
games.
we got to go, Scott. Good
call,
points,
Scott.
though. JD and George will get to you on the other side, plus Mike Holmgren. That's coming up on the Roast, brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking. No compromises.
Score big with Xfinity Internet. It's made to do anything, so you can do anything. Supercharge your home with the game-changing speed of supersonic Wi-Fi. With 3 times more bandwidth, it covers the field and then some. And blocks billions of threats with advanced security that helps keep you protected at home and on the go. If you're keeping score, that's internet that does it all. That's unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
Kirby! They are your driveway mechanic, and they bring the shop to you. Brakes and tire replacements, oil changes, and more. And they've just added an eco-friendly wash. Barely uses any water, and it makes your car look brand new. The ultimate convenience, easy booking, transparent pricing, on-time arrival, servicing your driveway. No waiting rooms, no coordinating rides. Direct access to your mechanic. Friendly and reliable service, no middlemen, and no upsells. $50 off. That's what I'm going to give you right now for your first oil change. Here's the code, OIL50. The code, once again, OIL50. Check out Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra Internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity Gateway.
For all contest rules, go to 957thegame.com/rules.
Neuropathy pain? Call Dr. Robert Dees, DC, 925-393-0100.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Something you probably do know. Progressive can not only offer you a great price when you bundle home and auto, they offer you round-the-clock protection. Something you probably don't know, the average garage door is made up of 1.3 millimeter aluminum panels. Something you probably do know, your neighbor likes to tinker with his dirt bike. Something you probably don't know, a runaway dirt bike can take out your garage door and a good portion of your car bumper. Bundle your home and auto with Progressive and get more than a great price. Get round-the-clock protection. Something you know for the things you don't know. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers and subject to policy terms. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
How do you make the most of your land? Everyone has their way. The Nelsons depend on their John Deere Gator XUV 835R to get
from point A to point B with decoys and the dogs.
As much as we got going on, it's all about efficiency.
And if you ask the Mosers what they use their Gator XUV 590M for, they tell you.
The most fun we have on the Gator is just ripping around the property.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
In San Francisco, expecting cloudy skies, highs in the mid-60s.
Weather brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Your neighborhood Ashley store has all the styles, selection, and value you'll need to invite fall in this season. Find furniture you'll love by shopping locally or visit ashley.com today.
Hockey season is here, and 95.7 The Game has your shot at tickets to check out the San Jose Sharks in their home opener against Carolina on October 14th. Listen to Willard and Dibbs around 10:30 for your chance to win.
Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
JD, Cliff, George will get you in a second. Hang tight for us. We appreciate your patience. We promise to get you after we talk to Super Bowl head coach Mike Holmgren. We love Mike. He's a city guy, Sacred Heart Cathedral, Lincoln High School. Of course, longtime offensive coordinator with the 49ers under Bill Walsh. And, of course, won the Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers in the mid-'90s. Mike, good morning. Welcome back to the Roast with Joe Shasky, the Butcher, and Bonte Hill out here in San Francisco. And a lot of doom and gloom right now with the 49ers as they're 1-2. They lost their franchise quarterback. They stunk it up on Sunday Night Football against the Broncos. But I want to start here, Mike, with Trey Lance. How did you like the way the 49ers utilized Trey Lance? Were you in favor of the quarterback runs? What did you think of the overall game plan for Trey Lance in those 5 quarters that he played this season?
Well, I kind of understood it. First of all, thanks for having me on, guys. But I will say this, that if you have a quarterback, like as much as they put in to work with him to make him the guy, prior to the opening of this season, I would not have chosen to have runs with him. He's going to make it happen naturally, but they started off, and you always run the risk of that guy getting banged up, and then the worst thing could possibly happen. I remember with Steve Young, when he came to the 49ers, and he was a great runner as well as a quarterback. And then Coach Walsh put in runs for him, actual quarterback runs. And then Steve would come to me in the quarterback room and say, Mike, when you call a run to me, all it is 12 guys meeting close to you on the sideline. I run over there. They know it's a run. We're all there. Then we go back to running regular football. It was better when he just improvised. And so, you know what? You run you don't. It was a shame. I felt so bad when he got hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't know the young man, but I know he's a talented guy. But I would not have done that.
Yeah, Mike, I'm 100% with you. I'm not a big believer in just running the quarterback up the gut. I know that there's guys that are out there, but like my big thing, just watching the game my whole life, I'm not a coach like you. He was just getting hit too much, and it felt like this guy's not going to last the year taking these kinds of shots. But the bigger question that I have is like trying to get a young man to feel confident. Let's say, because there's a lot of people, he can't throw, he can't do this, he can't do that. How do you balance it out as a head coach, trying to get a guy to feel some positive momentum early on in his career by utilizing some of the things that he does do well, but also minimizing the hits and the exposure? How do you balance that out as a head coach?
Well, that's the trick. I mean, if you're committed to him as a quarterback, and obviously they did, then you're going to play to his strengths. And also you're talking to him, and he has to know this is a growth period for him. You're not going to shoot lights out right away. And I know that. I mean, I'm your coach. I know that. So what I'm asking you to do, let's try and eliminate as many mistakes as possible, and I'll try and help you become the best player you can be. So hang in there with me. And then, little by little, if the talent is there, and the talent is there, then you're seeing him develop as far as learning the game and his mental reaction to different things. And that takes a little time. That takes some time. I always thought if you had the same coordinator, play caller, and system, that it would take, you really have something special in your third year of playing. Otherwise, with Favre or even Joe Montana, when his first couple of years with the 49ers, or Steve or the guys I had, Hasselbeck, they all of a sudden it clicks in. It clicks in, but during that growth period, you're hanging in there with them. And they have to understand, and you let them know that you're with them.
How do you? I'm going to jump in. I'm sorry, B. How do you balance that with the win now? We got to win right now because this roster is ready to win now. Because we've heard a lot about the conversations between Kyle and some of the leaders on this team, and how they're trying to balance that out. How do you, as the head guy, how do you work with all those people and those layers of trying to balance out winning in the locker room and developing the young man? Because it seems so much easier to say and so much harder to execute.
You know what? You're right. It is a pretty easy thing to say, and then what you have to make sure is your owner is on board. That's hugely important. And then you kind of explain. I remember Paul Allen telling him, he goes, Mike, when we're developing Hasselbeck and developing things in Seattle, and the owner, Mr. Allen, came up and said, Mike, when are we going to really hit it? And I said, Paul, it'll be about a year and a half. And no one wants to hear that. I mean, certainly your fans don't want to hear it. But, if you're being honest about it, that's what it takes. That's what the development takes. The thing with the 49ers, in watching them, and I haven't studied them, but in watching them, is they have really great talent on offense. I mean, Kittle is one of the best. Samuel's one of the best. They have a good offensive line. I mean, the fullback is. I love the fact that they play with a fullback. I love that. Not many teams do that anymore, but they're good on offense. And so, bringing a young quarterback along now's the time to do that because the other guys can really help them.
Well, we're talking to Mike Holmgren, longtime head coach in the NFL, two-time Super Bowl champion as an assistant with the Niners, won a Super Bowl as head coach of Green Bay, got national championship, should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We got to make that campaign happen, Mike. But to that point about everything, you talk about year 3 of it popping. How much does coaching turnover affect that process? Because Shanahan has lost a lot of assistants. Mike McDaniel now in Miami, 3-0. A lot of people say, boy, that's a tough loss for Shanahan. He's lost to LaFleur. One's an offensive coordinator in New York. One's he head coach of the Green Bay Packers. How much does the coaching turnover affect that?
Well, it can affect it. I mean, you have to, but the thing is, in Kyle's case, he calls the game.
Right.
If you're hiring coordinators to do that, then I would say you go through growing pains because they come in, they might have a little wrinkle to the system, they might have a different system. Maybe you hired them to get a different system, but that's not the case with the 49ers. So I think even though he's lost good coaches, okay, the fact that he still calls the plays, and so that's going to be pretty solid. They shouldn't suffer because of that.
Right, Mike, did you call the plays your entire tenure as head coach in Green Bay and Seattle? And if not, should maybe Kyle look to somebody to call the plays and he can focus on other things, including, maybe looking at the offensive concepts, but maybe taking a step back? Did you call the plays your entire time as head coach?
Yeah, I did. When I got a chance to call the plays in San Francisco, and then went to Green Bay, I was going to call the plays. I wanted, look at being a head coach, as I learned, and when you're assistant coach, you don't really know, but when you be a head coach, there's all sorts of stuff going on. So I still wanted to have fun coaching, and fun for me was calling the games and doing that stuff, not the press conferences and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I did that. There was only in the 17 years I was the head coach, and a little bit more before that with the 49ers, I only stepped back one game, and that was in Seattle. We were struggling in the first couple of years, and I said, I'm not helping. I felt that way about myself. So I turned it over to a coach to call a game. I didn't like how that went, that game. I didn't say it at the time. No one knew about it. But then, and the coach that I had do that knew that it was kind of in a little bit of an experiment, and then I took it back. So yeah, I did it my whole time, and I think in Kyle's case, as an example, he's proven to be an excellent play caller, and an offensive guy. The problem is, I told this to Mike McCarthy when he won in Green Bay once. He said, I'm backing away and not calling the games. I said, don't do that. You felt bad because you lost this game to the Seahawks in the playoffs. Don't do that, because you're a good play caller, and what'll happen is you turn it over, and then all of a sudden down the road you'll want to take it back, and then when you take it back after a few games, that's disruptive.
Yeah.
So I would hang in there, and if that's what you like to do it.
Yeah. Mike Holmgren talking with us, San Francisco legend, NFL legend. He helped groom 3 different quarterbacks into the Hall of Fame: Montana, Young, Brett Favre. I mean, the guy's legendary, and just knows how to treat people in and out of football. And so, Mike, I'm looking at it from a coach's point of view. You have a game like you did on Sunday night. It's in front of the entire country. Quarterback looks completely shaken. Clearly, their relationship has been very rocky, to say the least. How do they get this thing back on track? How does the coach, the quarterback, the rest of the team button themselves up and get ready to play the LA Rams, your rival, in McVay this week? It just feels like they're really on the mat right now.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that when I knew I was going to visit with you guys. Because look, if the game is 11-10, you don't have to be a football nut to say what was wrong with that. Something's wrong with that. And so I'll tell you what. I think when they lost this is one man's opinion. I think when they Trey Lance and Jimmy, they're 2 different players. And going into this season and all the stuff that went on in the off season when Lance was going to be the guy, they developed an offense for him, is my opinion. And then when he got hurt, they had to change and go back to a little. Certainly, they're 2 different styles, and they had to go back to something that they probably hadn't practiced and developed in the entire off season. So to think that you're going to hop into a game, and after one game, although Garoppolo, he did play well against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are struggling, as you know, but he played well. But to think it's going to be just like business as usual, you're making a mistake. There's going to be growing pains here. And I think transferring from a style of play that was Trey Lance oriented to now what they have to play again, plus Jimmy coming off that shoulder thing and all that kind of stuff, there's going to be some tears shed. Let me put it that way.
How much does the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have a training camp, didn't have the playbook, although he's been here since midway through 2017, how much does that really affect his play and his decision-making on the field? Because there's a lot of bad decisions that he made on Sunday night against the Denver Broncos. How much does that affect him, Mike?
That part of it is a little bit of a puzzle. I mean, physically, and getting back in the groove of playing, coming off the injury, that's one thing. But his decision making, he's played a long time. He's played enough football to make good decisions. And if that's been a problem, then that has to get fixed right away. Because the team is good enough, the defense is good enough, the surrounding guys are good enough. The quarterback, in my opinion, in this case, doesn't have to be the star. He just has to make plays he should make.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden that's not happening, then that's a serious look-see now. Let's see what's going on.
Mike, we could talk to you all day. I got so many questions for you. You're just spitting knowledge right now, and we're loving every second of it. In the game, you're the play caller, and this is why I'm at. I know it's evolved a lot. There's analytics, and there's probably more people in the headset these days than ever before. But when you are calling plays and you're being the head coach, how are you coming to decisions within 30 seconds in, hey, we're at the 41, we're up 3 points, we should go for it, we shouldn't go for it? Did you guys prepare for those situations? Did you have a certain point person who would maybe get into your head, a play or two before? Were you thinking 3 spots ahead? Kind of just walk me through your process when you got to certain spots in the game on when to go for it, when not to go for it, because I feel like it's so easy for us to rip it, and it's just so hard when everything's being balanced and you're trying to call plays in real time.
No, that's the responsibility of the play caller, and that's why I like to do it. In fact, I had a rule, but keep in mind, now there are 26 coaches on each staff. We had 8.
Yeah.
So upstairs, and I had my button. I could go on listen to the defensive coaches or the offensive coaches. You can do that. Okay. But I also had a rule that when we were on offense, I didn't want to hear anything. No one talks. No one talks except for one guy, and that guy would talk if I asked him a question. No one offers opinions. No one says, do this, do that. That was my job. And so that I was able to keep, I think, a little clearer head that way. And then as you do it more, you're thinking a couple plays ahead every time. You're thinking field position. You're thinking clock. You're thinking all those things. But that's your job. That's what you're paid to do. The hard part was when we have a coordinator, like in Seattle. I use Seattle as an example. They have a coordinator who calls the offense, but Pete Carroll is the defensive head coach. Now, if the defense, you call a play. This happened to me in San Francisco near the end. You call a play, and the head coach goes, no, call something else. I go, well, gee, it throws off your rhythm.
Was that Seaford?
It had to be. Of course, it was
Seaford, right?
Yeah, you didn't know names. No names, Shasky.
I love
Snitching Shasky over here. We all love Shasky. Go ahead, Mike.
No names.
Yeah, gosh, Shasky.
Hey, Mike,
you're trying to put Mike on a hot seat here.
My bad. Before you get on out of here, you had a lot of personnel decisions as well. You had a lot of authority as you grew later in life. If you could look back and talk to someone like Kyle, who we believe has final say on a lot of the personnel things, what is maybe a couple of rules that you have learned or created for yourself over your time being the head coach and the personnel guy?
Well, one thing, when I came to Seattle, when I had all the responsibility, I was able to hire Ted Thompson. And Ted went on to be the president of the Green Bay Packers for a long time. And I trusted him. He was smart. He was good. And so I would listen to him, and he was in charge of personnel, bring me what he wanted to do, and then, of course, I had to make the final call and say no. Very rarely did I trump him. I wouldn't do that. Same when I learned that from Ron Wolf. When I came into the league first as a head coach, and Ron was my boss in Green Bay, he would listen. He was really good at that. He really listened, and at times I could talk him into things, but I also knew he was my boss. And so, coaching to me was I wanted to coach, and I loved the personnel part of it, but coaching was what I wanted to do. So I hired a great personnel person. Jimmy Johnson, I remember, was the other way. He wanted to be a personnel guy, so he hired Norv Turner and Dave Wanstead to be his coordinators and be the brains behind the coaching part of it. He wanted to do it a different way. So it's kind of what the coach wants to do. It's very hard to do it all without help. That's for sure.
Mike, it sounds like you need to be back on the sidelines.
Or just be a part of a team and be like the consigliere. We need you back in the red and gold.
Well, you know what? Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm enjoying my retirement, my grandkids right now. I don't need to. I've lost all my hair, so I can't lose any more hair.
You can wear a hat. They have cool hats now in the NFL, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to wear one like Kyle. I will tell you that right now.
No flat hat
No
for you,
flat brim, huh? Mike, you're always good to
You're
us,
the
man.
best.
We appreciate it. And we're going to start. How are you not in Canton, Ohio?
Yes.
Seriously. No,
Seriously,
honestly, we're
it's
not even just
ridiculous.
being homers here. It's a joke.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. I know that. And so we'll see. You know, if I can hang in there long, my birthday's coming up. I'll be 75. I'm going to hang in there. If Vermeil got in at 85, I've still got a shot.
We got to get you in.
Yeah,
we're
gotta
going
get
to
you
make
in,
that
Mike.
the mantra of the morning roast.
No doubt.
Thank you for
Mike.
spending
Thanks
some
so
time
much.
with us.
All right, guys. Take care.
Anytime. Mike Holmgren, national
the
champion,
best.
Super Bowl champ, should be in the Hall of Fame. I wish we had time to react to that. We'll do that tomorrow
wanted to do
morning.
3 hours with him.
Yeah, we could do that tomorrow morning because there's a lot there with Jimmy Garoppolo. He said it's puzzling. Doesn't know whether or not training camp or OTAs matter. Like, it's puzzling because he's played a lot of football. Like, he played like a rookie on Sunday night, and he's been in the league for 9 years.
Did you hear about when he was talking about like the running of the kid? And he's like, I was sick to my stomach for that.
Well, that's number one. And we need to play that for a lot of people
Wow.
who said, everybody does it. Go watch Buffalo. Go watch Philly. You ran the kid into the ground.
Well,
you drafted him to be a pocket quarterback. Let him struggle from the pocket. Let him learn from the pocket. We know he could do all those other things
he's
with his
going to
legs.
run naturally on the scrambles.
You heard Mike say that?
And you're going to have a natural, ability to be able to escape. I mean, the first drop back in the Arizona game last year,
right?
He had to scramble because Chandler Jones was in his lap.
Right. Well, he didn't have to throw George Seifert under the bus. Was that George Seifert? We all know who it was, Shasky.
That's okay.
We all know who it was. It's Shasky,
how fascinating was it when he went? They went from 8 guys on a staff
to 26.
He would have no one talk during those situations so that he could think clearly.
Yep.
I mean, this is clearly an individual in Mike Holmgren who has forgotten more about football than any of us will ever know.
Dude.
I just found that fascinating.
Right off the rip, he would not have ran Trey like that. Right off the rip. He would not have ran Trey Lance like that. Let's go to JD in San Mateo's been waiting on hold for a while.
So
and then we'll get to Cliff and Vallejo.
So good.
JD, listening on the car radio. You're on the roast. What's up, JD?
Yo, what's up, man? I love the last call.
Holmgren.
Yep.
The best.
Yeah, man. But I'm going to have to say that I'm tired of seeing this 49ers offense. You know what we look like? A Pop Warner football team on the offense. I don't want to see Shanahan on that sideline. I'd rather see him up in the office box looking down on the field so he can get a little more view of the field and see what we're doing and what we're not doing right on offense. It's just crazy how Jimmy G was playing. I'm a Jimmy G fan, man. They need to play more better, and Kyle Shanahan need to get his head out of you-know-what and open up that playbook. I don't care how many picks Jimmy G throws. He can throw 5 picks, but, man, open up that playbook and utilize your playmakers.
You know what? Open it up and just say, hey, look, this guy can't make the plays. At least do that instead of just limiting him if that's the case. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But, Shasky, you hear me what I'm saying? Throw it at him and say, you know what, Jimmy? You want freedom to cook? You want to do all these things? Here you go.
But okay. These two concepts cannot work in tandem. So just hear me out for 1 second. When you run the ball a lot, the clock keeps ticking, and you limit the amount of possessions. So when you do that, and if that's what your ethos is going to be, and you turn the ball over and are not explosive, that is a recipe for being let down. So, for example, we talk about the Warriors and their turnovers. Yeah. How many times have we said, well, it really doesn't matter how many times they turn it over because they play at such a great pace and they'll be able to overset it and overcome it.
And it's all about the shots they get and the passes they get, and they end up getting more shots than other teams.
So when you run the ball as much as they do, and you have Jimmy turning it over, it's a recipe for being let down and losing because you're throwing it all around. You're not going to make up for it with explosive plays. So I guess what I'm saying is I'll defend Shanahan. If his ethos is going to be running the ball, him throwing it around all over the place when he's not running it is probably a nightmare because that one turnover is the difference of losing.
And it was a difference in losing on Sunday night. However, when you run the ball, and as Baldy said, they had one big pop. And everything else was like 2 yards of carry. There was nothing creative in the run game on Sunday. So your running game is not creative. It looks very predictable. It looks very predictable in the way you utilize Deebo Samuel. It looks very predictable in the way you utilize George Kittle. Then what's next? This offense needs a jolt badly. And I just wonder, has Shanahan evolved as an offensive play caller? Has he? Because yesterday you were screaming, and I agree with you 100%. nothing looks spectacular. The screens look very bland. When they throw the ball, it looks very bland. There's a lot of 3 wide receiver routes, a lot of 4. Like it just doesn't look creative whatsoever.
And I'll defend him on this one. I'm talking about Shanahan and the play calling. When you have Jimmy out there, there's only like 4 spots on the field he's throwing to. A power slant, maybe a dig route here and there, and a bunch of smoke screens.
I understand all that.
I think it's very easy to know where the ball's going.
I understand all that, but Jimmy's here because of Shanahan. You could have moved out them 3 years ago.
I know.
So it's tough for me to keep blaming Jimmy when the guy who hand select the quarterback, it's saying to myself, well, he's not my guy, yet he's still here 3 years later. I've been yelling for 3 years on this station.
It just feels like the book is out on Jimmy, and more than anything.
The book's been out on Jimmy, yet this guy is still with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's still here, and that's on the head coach. That's on the head coach.
I have no rebuttal.
You had chances to go get other guys, and you finally go get your other guy, and you run him like an Air Force quarterback. You just heard should be a Hall of Fame coach, Mike Holmgren, saying, I would not have used Trey Lance like that. Mike Holmgren's an offensive guru. That's an offensive genius.
Oh, he's one of my favorite coaches of all time.
That's an offensive guru.
I wanted him to take over the Niners in 2005.
Let's get to Cliff real quick in Vallejo before we get to the flex. Cliff, what's happening? You got about 30 seconds until the flex moment of the show. What's up, Cliff?
What's going on, fellas? Top of the morning to you guys.
Top of the morning.
Hey, I have the perfect analogy. The Niners fans and my man Gucci Man, who made this rap about him and his relationship with his other girl while he's having his relationship with his woman.
Huh.
And the other girl keep asking him, what are we about? What are we about? Who are we? Am I your friend? Am I this? Am I that? And Gucci Man said, I still don't know. I don't know who Kyle Shanahan is after 6 years. You understand what I'm saying?
I didn't know where you were going,
I have
Cliff,
no idea what you're saying.
But we got to the end road,
But it was funny.
in the end game, and you mixed in some Gucci Man. I'm not mad at that. Now let's flex.